Welcome in. Happy Monday. Thank you for joining us here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. Across from me, super producer Carlene Bragg. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Nick?
I am doing well. We are just a few days away from Thanksgiving.
Chugging along.
My favorite holiday. I let that be known here on Live Impact News every day since we got into like the holiday season. So I'm letting you guys know again, it's my favorite holiday. But we're approaching a lot going on. News does not slow down on the holiday week. And we want to get to some top headlines that we are following for you this afternoon. So first headline. So today, closing arguments are expected in the murder trial of two men charged with killing Brooks Sandwich House co-owner Scott Brooks. Authorities say Terry Connor and Stephen Staples killed Brooks while he was opening his family's restaurant in 2019. So our Jessie Pierre is in court. She's been there since the very beginning covering this trial. So we'll have more updates. And make sure you download our digital platforms, WCNC Plus. Obviously, you're watching it on WCNC Plus, but also on our website, WCNC.com, and then our mobile app for those minute-by-minute updates from inside the courtroom. Also today, one of the suspects in the Concord tree lighting shooting, we brought it to you live here on Live Impact News on Friday evening. One of those suspects is in court. Let me take you back. So police have identified 3 suspects in a shooting that sent 4 people to the hospital during a Christmas tree lighting ceremony Friday night, saying this was not a random act of violence. Concord police said the shooting between 2 people who knew each other disrupted the downtown celebration around 7:30 p.m. I just want to give you some context. A few minutes after that, we were able to come on live and break that news here on Live Impact News. So one of those suspects, Kevion Bostick, is charged as an adult with accessory after the fact and inciting a riot. He was in court this morning. We'll have additional updates on what went down in court a little later this afternoon. We'll continue to update you throughout the afternoon and evening. Also happening today, pretty cool stuff. We're talking about Thanksgiving, a big turkey giveaway. We're talking about Stephanie Mills, R&B legend Stephanie Mills, and Charlotte Hornet, LaMelo Ball, teaming up today for a major turkey giveaway, giving away turkeys to families in need in our area. Our Richard Devane was actually there. I was telling Carlene about it. This is in Plaza Midwood. He was there for that giveaway. He got a chance to speak with Stephanie Mills, R&B legend, also LaMelo Ball. We want to take you back in case you missed it. Let's check that out.
Thanksgiving just days away. Folks across the community are doing their part to make sure everyone has a happy holiday season.
Today, legendary singer Stephanie Mills and Charlotte Hornet LaMelo Ball teaming up for a major turkey giveaway. The duo providing food to 50 families in need.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane joins us live from Penthouse Bar to share more about this giveaway and its impact on the community. So Richard, how are things going out there?
Things are going phenomenal. Good afternoon to you, Ben. Good afternoon, Lisa. Nathan Smalls, actually, this is what there's going on today. Tell us about this, how it started.
We've got turkeys, we've got LaMelo Ball's drink. It all started back with Stephanie Mills and the 444 Love Foundation, and she just is doing something wonderful for the folks here in Charlotte. So we're here today to start the turkey drive.
And this has been going on all day. This has been going on all day. Stephanie, how are you doing again?
I'm
She's
doing
been here
good.
all morning.
I've been here since 9 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Well, right. 8 o'clock. I came
She
at
was
8
talking
o'clock.
to us at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Able to go out, able to talk to people,
Take
lots
pictures.
of hugs.
We gave a lot of food away.
it is.
It's about love and giving back to the community. And I'm so happy that Mello was a part of this and interested in doing it with us and partnering with us. And he's so cute. And all the girls love him. They were standing there waiting for him to come.
Yeah, there are a lot of people standing around waiting. LaMelo, just for you, just the chance to come out and make people's Thanksgiving a little bit better. What does that mean to you?
It just means the most. Like she said, just giving back, trying to help. That's the main thing.
And you were going to say something?
No. I was just
okay.
with him.
We got the very tall, and we got Stephanie right here, the very sweet. Just to see the faces of everybody when they've gotten that turkey, and just a chance to spend with you guys a few moments. How does that feel?
Wonderful. It's wonderful. We do a lot, and with the SNAP being gone and all the things that are going on in the world and all the hate that's going on, it's wonderful to give love to our community. That's what it's all about.
And I saw you sitting down with some of the young fans, and they did their faces light up when they see you. What does that mean?
I mean, it means a lot just seeing the kids. And like I said, it's a lot about family and just being together. So giving back and being here, it's a lot for me.
And this has all been put together. These families were recommended. They're part of the financial program at, tell us, guys, come on. Okay, Christ. Sisters Ministries. And yes, and she's our co-host here. We just want to say that the folks here have been enjoying it. They've been speaking throughout the day, talking about, I spoke to a couple people off camera. They said what a blessing this is. And like somebody said earlier, this is the season for giving, but giving is all year round. So that's the story.
And I hope that people give all year round, not just for Thanksgiving and Christmas, but for every day. Love should be every day.
There it is. There it is. Guys, we'll see you back in 30 minutes. But for now, we're right here in Charlotte. This is Richard Devane. Guys, I'm going to send it back to you. We're at the penthouse.
LaMelo,
Send it back to
Stephanie, and Richard Devane, the trio I didn't know I needed.
I'm saying.
Very nice.
Greatest time for Richard.
Richard, thank you.
Such a cool moment right there.
Yeah, Richard would get that interview.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Richard has a knack of just being in the right place at the right time.
Right, and it's so cool. So LaMelo Ball is 6'7". I'm not going to do the whole thing.
No, don't do
He's 6'7", and Stephanie Mills is pretty short.
She's a teeny weeny.
Yeah. So it was just to see the height difference, but she is such a powerhouse
Of course.
singer, legend. All right, so speaking of Thanksgiving, it's going to be like a wacky week of weather. Man, I'm talking about it is close to 70 today. We are weather alert for the back half of tomorrow. Thanksgiving is going to be a lot cooler than what we experienced over the weekend and even today. It is a roller coaster of emotions when it comes to the weather. So let's check in with Brad. We're checking in with Brad. He is keeping tabs on what's going on outside. Let's check in with Brad.
Welcome to Thanksgiving week. We've got a very interesting week. It's going to start warm. We're going to see some rain, and then we're going to see cool weather finally, which feels weird because we haven't seen a lot this month of November. So let's get right to it. This is Monday as I'm recording this. This is November 24th. You can see our big storm system in the middle of the country. This is going to be the big driver for our weather this week, especially early on. This will bring us a chance of showers and storms on Tuesday. So if you're traveling, especially Tuesday evening, this has become the big travel day now because most schools are out on Wednesday. So folks are traveling after work or school on Tuesday. That's going to be the highest impact from a weather standpoint as you see that system moving across the country. Real quickly, here it is. It is going to be moving off in this general direction and arriving over us in the Carolinas during the afternoon and evening on Tuesday. I'm going to turn off a couple of the satellite imageries here just to show you some of the severe weather outlooks that we're going to see over the next 24 to 36 hours. So here's our severe weather outlook for Monday. You can see ahead of that, we've got a low to medium risk. As we go into your Tuesday, that risk shifts off to the east. Doesn't really include the Carolinas because a lot of this is going to happen probably late in the day, the evening as the front approaches. We will be cooling off by then. So I'm not anticipating any severe weather. So again, when we're talking about these impacts, it's not severe, it's not strong, it's not flooding. It's really just inconvenient rainfall happening while folks are going to be traveling. And if you've been in the Carolinas any length of time, rain and driving seems to not go very well hand in hand. So let's talk a little bit about the forecast. All right, for this forecast, we're going to stick primarily with the short range rapid refresh guidance, which runs every hour out to 18 hours and every 6 hours goes out 48 hours. So this is the morning run going out 48 hours. We'll go through tonight. Again, not much happening in the Carolinas. We'll get all the way to tomorrow morning. Most folks will be up heading to work or school for that last day before a lot of folks are off. This is what it should look like radar-wise. Generally, I'm expecting there to be some pretty good showers and storms ongoing over parts of Alabama and Tennessee. For us, probably drizzly, misty, maybe in a few spots, but kind of warm too. Temperatures will be warming. We'll have strong southerly winds bringing in some warm and somewhat humid air for this time of year. So that's why I said the beginning of the week is going to be mild. As we go through the day, I'll stop this around midday right there. We could have a few showers developing middle of the day. But it's really the afternoon. That's why I said this is really an afternoon or evening setup. You see the rain moving through in the afternoon. And again, the evening commute, depending on when people leave work or school, probably going to have some showers around. But most of that activity is going to be scattered. There's certainly no washout, nothing widespread. But Tuesday afternoon is when we expect the rain to pick up. And then we go into Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. So this is the wee hours of Wednesday morning. We're around getting close to midnight here. Another round. This is the actual cold front. So if you're traveling late at night, Maybe folks are traveling after midnight. You might run into some showers. This is probably our best chance of seeing a thunderstorm too, by the way, with the front moving through. But notice it moves through fairly quickly. And so by the time you wake up Wednesday, if you're traveling Wednesday, most of this system is past us. The front is here. There's some scattered showers. And then it begins to shift off to the east. As we go through Wednesday afternoon, a lot of this is gone. So I'm going to widen this out and loop it. This is a 48-hour loop, by the way, just to show you how this will impact most of the East Coast. So again, some of the airports in the north and the northeast definitely could have some impacts, and there could be some snow up in the Great Lakes. But all in all, this is going to be the main weather system that will impact us for Tuesday into Wednesday. So what does this mean for Thanksgiving Day? Let me show you. So here's what's going to happen. By Thanksgiving Day, behind that front, temperatures will only be in the 40s and 50s for highs. So a cool Thanksgiving this year. The average high on Thanksgiving for us in the Charlotte area is around 58, 59 degrees. So we're supposed to be in the 50s, but this will actually be below that in the low 50s, maybe even upper 40s. So for the first time since we got that little bit of snow, we'll actually have below average temperatures. Here's the thing though, this doesn't even stick around very long. This actually moves out fairly quickly. Black Friday could end up being the coldest of all the days. We'll go right there. Highs barely getting to 50. So the coldest of the entire holiday weekend is going to be Friday. Then Saturday, still around 50. But Sunday, we start to warm up, maybe getting into the mid 50s. And by next week, the warmth comes back. We're well into the 60s and another chance of rain. So that's a quick look at your Thanksgiving forecast. I will update this throughout the next couple of days, especially through Wednesday. Safe travels out there. Just be aware and be alert for the potential for some rainfall on Tuesday.
All right, so that was
Doesn't
Brad
sound
with a
good,
check
but
of
Washington
our
was
forecast.
the most dangerous
not
place,
just today, but this week. It's a big week for a lot of folks. A lot of folks traveling this week, so be safe out there on the road if you're or flying or taking a train or wherever mode of transportation. Be safe, but also be aware of what's happening when it comes to the forecast. All right, we are going to take a quick break. We will be back in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. So we got an update just into our newsroom. It was posted on X. So just to take you back, for a little over a week now, Border Patrol has been here in the Charlotte area. They've been conducting what has been called Operation Charlotte's Web. And so there have been conflicting reports. We got reports later in the week, later last week, that that they were ending this operation. And then DHS came out and said, no, that's not the case. So we just came across a post from the Department of Homeland Security. Here it is. It says, Operation Charlotte's Web is far from over. This operation has already resulted in the arrest of hundreds of illegal aliens. DHS law enforcement will go anywhere to arrest and deport the worst of the worst. Again, that is a post in the last few minutes from Department of Homeland Security giving this update. Again, a lot of confusion over the weekend if the operation was actually over. DHS confirming it is not over. So we will continue to keep an eye on Border Patrol operations here in the Charlotte area and give you a minute by minute update as we have since this operation started. And we will have updates from Bria Smith. She's out there covering the latest when it comes to Border Patrol. So we'll check in with her throughout the afternoon and into our evening shows. All right, so happening live right now, we want to take you to Pennsylvania. We're happening now. Let me get my notes together, y'all, because we have a lot coming into the newsroom and a lot happening. So let me take you here. This is right there to your right is Governor Shapiro holding a press conference. I'm looking for the information. I had it up, Carlene.
It was up and now it's gone.
That's okay. So we did have the information, but it looks like NBC took that information that we needed away. But again, this is a press conference out of Pennsylvania. As soon as we kind of learn a little bit more, we'll.
It was surrounding the SEPTA system, which is their transit authority.
Okay. So this is around their transit authority there in Pennsylvania. Sorry, we couldn't provide more context, but we had the information that was taken away. Let's listen in to what's actually being said right now.
Without SEPTA, Pennsylvania's economy grinds to a halt, and our governor understands that. He gets it. So I want to thank General Manager Scott Sawyer for the entire SEPTA team for moving quickly to inspect the Silverliner fleet and return all the cars to service. And to the workforce, the men and women at TWU and SMART, all the frontline workers, thank you for working around the clock to make sure my family can get to where they got to go safely. The eyes of the world will be on Pennsylvania, as the governor said, in 2026, more than they already are. Every county, rural, suburban, and urban district relies on public transit. We're all in this together. So again, I'm grateful to Governor Shapiro for today's action and for his consistent leadership to protect and strengthen our mass transit systems. We still have more work ahead, and I look forward to working with everybody to get this done. Thank you, and have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to invite Scott back up, and if the press has any questions, the governor and General Manager Scott Sauer will be glad to answer them.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we'll invite the secretary up as well, and if there's questions from the media, we're happy to take some. Yeah, go ahead.
Governor, is this discretionary money from the trust fund? How much say do you have over that trust fund money? And is this something you could have done sooner?
SEPTA requested assistance, and we acted immediately. This is a fund that the Secretary controls of capital dollars that is available for mass transit all across the Commonwealth. As for the balance, you can speak to that issue, Mr. Secretary.
So these are flexible capital dollars, as the governor said. We were able to direct the $219 million at SEPTA's request, and there was a remaining balance of somewhere in the neighborhood of $140 million.
We don't get this money. Like, talk about the other end. If this money doesn't come, what is life like for SEPTA and riders without this money?
Well, this is a true lifeline. These are funds that we would have had to find elsewhere to do this work, because this work had to get done. So we had to find $200 million of capital dollars from somewhere else in order to get this work done. It's not budgeted. It was not in our capital program that we put forward, even after the transfer that the governor allowed us to do back in September. So this was funding we would have had to find somewhere else, which probably would have meant more projects being deferred.
Is
this funding, I know there's more money to lease more cars, potentially buy cars. Is this money paying for the cars you already leased from Mark, or is it more cars coming from Mark?
It's to address the Mark lease and to allow us to go find other potential leases or procurements of existing vehicles that are out in the country somewhere that we need to find.
I mean, I'll just ask one, which the obvious question is your message to riders. They see this, they see you guys talking, the delays, cancellations. Obviously, it's been a hot mess. What do you want to say to riders?
Yeah, well, I certainly want to thank the riders for their patience with us. It has been a strenuous, not just these last 2 months that we've dealt with this, but even before that, through all the funding issues and the service cuts, and it certainly has been a tumultuous summer and fall for our ridership. But what I would say to them now going forward is we have a path forward. We can now see, with the return of express service later this afternoon, more and more cars coming back every day. And what we now have is not just a path forward. We're going to work to get the cars forward, but now we can do lots of other things that we did not have funding to do that will allow us to get in front of crises. We can now do some preventive work, look for the next problem that's out on the horizon before it impacts customers.
Great.
Anything else? Scott, real quickly, I know it's been addressed multiple times, the call with the federal delegation with Transportation Secretary Duffy and the governor saying he hopes they step up. Is there a sense that the federal government might step in to provide some help?
So on the funding side, I've not been told that there's any immediate funding on the horizon. Where I certainly appreciate the federal government's assistance has been throughout this process of bringing the cars back, doing the inspections. They've lent us their expertise. They've dedicated hundreds of hours to SEPTA to help us find our way forward. And I've heard from the FRA themselves that they believe that we have turned a corner here. And so I'm appreciative of that.
Great. Let me thank everybody for being here. I also want to thank my Executive Deputy Chief of Staff, Amanda Warren, who's here. It's really been a glue that has helped bring this package together. Thank you, Amanda, for your strong leadership. And if I don't see all of you, have a blessed and happy Thanksgiving. We have a lot to be thankful for in this Commonwealth and in this country. Thank you all very, very much. Thank you. Get it done. Get it done.
All right, so that was a press conference that just wrapped up there in Pennsylvania. Governor Josh Shapiro, along with officials with Penn DOT, announcing a $220 million in capital funds for SEPTA safety upgrades. So again, that was that press conference that just wrapped up there. And we are going to take a quick break. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNT Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. We are approaching the top of the hour. So look, this time of year, there are scams that you need to be aware of. And so how do you spot scams? How do you prevent them from happening? I know there's something that, you hear all the time and talk about all the time. But so we got you covered. RJ Monreal got to speak with Sergeant Green with CMPD on those things, how to spot it, how to prevent it. Let's take you back to that interview.
We know scammers are getting smarter, from fake jobs to romance scams. These fraudsters are constantly finding new ways to target people right here in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg area. So we want to talk to Sergeant Seth Green from the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department right now, the Financial Crimes Unit, to help us understand what's happening right now and what we can do to protect ourselves. Sergeant Green, thank you so much for joining us here on Live Impact News, first of all.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Talk to us about what you're seeing right now and what scams are hitting the community the most.
Well, I mean, there's scammers are hitting on basically every component of life these days. I think that what's really important for me at the CMPD, or important for us at the CMPD, is kind of start discussing about what we're seeing is a lot of law enforcement related scams, and that's very as important for us to make sure that we get some messages out there that that's not something that law enforcement supports. It's not anything that we're involved in. On behalf of the CMPD, we just want to make sure that everybody knows that the CMPD will never call you and ask you for money that is related to any type of criminal investigation, whether that's fees, any type of processing, or any type of anything involved in the investigation, any fines of that, associated with the criminal investigation. CMPD is never going to be the one to call you and ask you for any money over the phone. We can't necessarily speak for all law enforcement agencies nationwide. We don't know their practices, but by and large, I would feel comfortable saying that most law enforcement agencies aren't going to call and try to solicit money from you related to a criminal investigation over the phone.
Okay, so that's what that kind of scam looks like. They're calling you out of the blue and saying that you're being investigated?
Right. And it takes on different little nuances. I mean, sometimes it's a bail bond scam, or it's a jury duty scam, or it's a loved one has been arrested, or and you have to help them out in some kind of way. So it changes daily on what they present to you, but I really think it's important for our community to know that that's not something that the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department will ever do in any of those capacities.
Are there certain groups being targeted more than others when it comes to this kind of scam?
No, this is across.
It's just random.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
It's
okay.
Equal opportunity.
Oh gosh. All right. So we hear all the time about phishing scams, but they're getting more sophisticated, aren't they?
I mean, I would say that they're getting a little bit more, creative in the way that they present these scams. But it really still boils down to the human condition and the ability to kind of identify some things that are red flags in all the emails.
Right.
So yeah, creativity in the sense in their presentation, but it really kind of all boils down to trying to manipulate the user behind the computer or behind the phone or on the phone.
So what should we be looking out for then?
Yeah, I think all the context of what you're receiving always matters, right? I think that is the email that you're receiving, is it expected? Does it align with something that you're trying to accomplish? You can always make sure that the header aligns with who you're trying to, the header of the email aligns with who you're trying to contact, and just applying all similar principles to not only to phishing emails, but phishing is just another form of a scam that we want to help people be prepared for and help to prevent. So apply all the same principles to phishing scams.
I mean, it gets so overwhelming when you're getting a lot of emails, some from work, some from family, some from what you think might be law enforcement. What are maybe some of the biggest red flags? I mean, you say you talk about emotion or in context, and what that this might be, especially for our vulnerable communities, like older folks. What should they be saying to themselves? This might be a scam. scam? What sets off that alarm?
Right. So, the scams, like I alluded to earlier, they're going to change daily, and the scammers are going to change. They're going to change the context, and they're going to change the narrative behind it. So what we like to do is provide people with with some very foundational preventative measures, and that this can apply to every single scam that I think anybody can encounter, whether it's on the phone or email or however it comes across to you. I could spend a lot of time talking to you about how what's the latest and greatest scam that we just heard this week or that's coming across.
Yeah.
But that doesn't help. If we can give the people, again, the foundational things to prevent all scams. And the first thing that we always ask people to do is just to slow down, right? I think scammers are always trying to prey upon people's impulsivity. I personally don't make great decisions when I'm hurried or rushed, so we're just going to ask people just to really kind of slow down. And just what we would prefer is that if this happens over the phone, that people just simply get off the phone and take a few minutes to think about what they have going on, or slow down when they're sorting through their emails. So anytime there's a component of time applied to when you're preparing to share personal information or financial information, people should approach that scenario as if it was a scam, and then to be convinced otherwise. So the component of the time is just something people is a red flag that people
Yeah, no, that's huge. That's a good one.
Be concerned about. The second thing is that we just want people to think, right?
All right, so that was an interview there with CMPD when it comes to scams and how to prevent it and how to spot it. We want to get you now to a special report. The latest, after a federal judge has dismissed the criminal cases against former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James, I'm concluding that the prosecutor who brought the charges at President Donald Trump's urging was illegally appointed by the Justice Department. That's according to AP News, but here's an NBC News special report. Let's take a listen in.
As that conduct, and if the Justice Department is going to try to bring charges against Comey, who was fired during the first Trump administration, obviously somebody the President of the United States views as a foe, well, they're going to have to go about it a different route.
Hey, Tom, just so I'm clear on this, so my understanding is, in fact, as you mentioned, they may not be able to bring up these specific charges once again for James Comey because of that statute of limitations. But when it comes to the New York Attorney General Letitia James, in fact, that statute of limitations does not necessarily exist. So these particular charges could be brought up once again.
That's what without prejudice means. It means that you have an opportunity to bring those charges again, and so that's something that we'll have to look at. But at least my initial look at the ruling here is that for the New York Attorney General, she's not quite out of the woods yet as far as future indictment. Whatever other legal challenges she faces, those can also be heard by the court as well. So it's not totally settled for her. For James Comey, obviously, there's going to be some more watching of the dockets and also to see what the Justice Department does in terms of those statute of limitations.
Tom Winter, if you will, stand by for me. I want to bring in senior White House correspondent Garrett Haake as well, who's standing by for us at the White House. Garrett, the president has been pretty outspoken as to wanting the Justice Department to go after his quote-unquote perceived enemies, former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Tish James being two of them. Now that these indictments have in fact been dismissed, Lindsay Halligan being the former special assistant to the president, what are we hearing from the White House?
Nothing yet from the White House on the dismissal of these indictments or from the president himself, who I think will probably comment before the White House press office does, given how personal these investigations and indictments were to him. Yasmin, it's not just that Lindsay Halligan, the attorney here, had worked for the president before he became president again and in his White House, but she was handpicked for this role. Folks might remember that it was on a social media post that the president wrote seemingly directly to his attorney general, Pam Bondi, in which he said that Lindsay Halligan was the person who should take on this role. Bondi, the attorney general, then moved quickly, although perhaps too quickly it seems now, to fill this U.S. attorney's post in Virginia with Ms. Halligan to proceed with these cases. I think it's possible, Yasmin, this will also continue to fuel frustration within the White House towards the DOJ, which has been kind of at the front line in a negative sense on so many news stories related to this administration in recent days, from their handling of the Epstein files now to seeing these indictments dismissed. It's the kind of thing that's going to frustrate the president and the people around him if past is prologue.
Garrett Haake, stand by for me as well. Want to bring in NBC News legal affairs reporter Gary Grumbach. Gary, you were inside the courtroom for these repeated hearings, especially last week as well, in which the judge was weighing as to whether or not to dismiss these indictments. What has stood out to you in these proceedings?
Well, there's been so many issues related to the grand jury proceedings in James Comey's case, and I think what happens here is a sort of result of all of those issues combined. You had one where the grand jury observer there was not correctly giving the indictment that the grand jury, the 12-person grand jury, had actually seen to the judge. So Lindsay Halligan perhaps signed an indictment that the entire grand jury didn't actually see. And then you have issues of perhaps missing minutes in a transcript that was brought up by Judge Curry in one of these cases. So perhaps the court reporter may not have been in the room where this all happened. So it was several different issues here. But this all comes back to the 120-day interim U.S. attorney rule. And that's the specific reason why this judge here today is finding that Lindsay Halligan's appointment as U.S. attorney is invalid, because she says you cannot appoint successive U.S. attorneys one after another if they are interim. They have to be appointed and confirmed by the U.S. Senate, and that is an important part here. She says, quote, "I conclude that the Attorney General's attempt to install Ms. Halligan as an interim U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia was invalid, and that she's been unlawfully serving in that role since September 22nd. Now, that's an important date because James Comey was indicted several days after September 22nd, which is why she is finding his indictment to be invalid and throwing that out, and she's doing the same thing with Letitia James's case.
Gary, quickly take us back to last week, the moment in which it was revealed that, in fact, Lindsay Halligan did not get the entire grand jury to sign off on that James Comey indictment. What was the reaction inside that courtroom?
It was a remarkable scene there because this happens all the time all over the country. A U.S. attorney signs an indictment, she gives it to the judge, and then the judge affirms it there after a grand jury brings down that indictment. That is not what happened here. What happened here is that there was two different copies. One had 3 counts and one had 2 counts because the grand jury did not indict on one of the 3 counts. So the grand jury coordinator just edited the document, took off one of the 3 counts, and then put the document towards Lindsay Halligan. She signed it, and it went right to a judge. The grand jury never saw that second indictment, and that is a significant issue. That's what Tom was talking about as one of the other issues in this case. There's several different motions that, frankly, don't matter as much anymore because of this decision here. Of course, this could all get appealed.
Gary Grumbach, stand by for me as well. Want to bring our Chief Justice and National Affairs correspondent, Kelly O'Donnell, who's joining us by phone. Kelly, before I get to you, I want to read the statement that we're getting in from New York Attorney General Letitia James, in which she says, "I am heartened by today's victory and grateful for the prayers and support I have received from around the country." She goes on, "I remain fearless in the face of these baseless charges as I continue fighting for New Yorkers every single day." Help put this moment in context for us, Kelly.
Good to be with you, Yasmin. This is really a huge setback for the president and his view of how he can push the Department of Justice to go after his perceived political enemies. Letitia James, the Attorney General, a Democrat in New York, has been someone who has drawn the ire of the president for a long time. She won a significant judgment against him and his family business in New York. James Comey has been an outspoken critic of the president since he left the job as FBI director. He was fired by Donald Trump. This is about President Trump using his power in ways that a court has now said exceeded his authority. As we heard the details from our colleagues about the 120-day rule, this means a personally selected attorney who had been an insurance attorney and a staffer in the White House, never a prosecutor, was installed in this position because the president wanted her to be there. The court finds that they did not follow the law in how that was done, and then everything that comes from it is now tossed aside. Now, as we have been discussing, it is possible because of the way this was dismissed, the charges could be brought again. But that takes us back to why was Lindsay Halligan installed in the first place? Because career prosecutors who had reviewed this material in both cases, did James Comey lie to Congress? Did he obstruct their process? Did Letitia James seek favor in her mortgage rate that was a financial benefit to her? Other prosecutors reviewed that and did not seek those charges. So it's a real question about, can these cases go forward? But the big picture in this moment is that the president and his approach to using the powers of his office has been rebuked by a judge, and that is a significant factor. These are two public rivals of the president who are now scoring at least a temporary win, and the president will certainly respond to this. But this is a significant rebuke of how President Trump views his use of the Department of Justice, how Attorney General Bondi conducted herself by appointing Lindsay Halligan. So these are big, far-reaching themes in the use of executive power in the Trump White House. And that applies to many other topics in many other areas. Today we're talking about 2 indictments, but it is significant.
Kelly O'Donnell, thank you for jumping on that for us. We appreciate you. That concludes this NBC News special report. We're going to have much more ahead on your local NBC station, on our streaming network, NBC News Now, online at NBCnews.com, and a full wrap-up tonight on Nightly News. I'm Yasmin Vasugian. Thanks for watching.
All right, so that was an NBC special report, and we are going to take a quick break on that note. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. So we want to get back to our interview that we're playing. Before we went into that special report, we spoke with Sergeant Green with CMPD, talking about scam prevention and what to look out for. Let's take you back now to that interview.
What is the context? Does the context in all of these times matters, and what is it telling you? Like, is this email, is a telephone call expected? And I always go back to the old adage, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Mm-hmm. So these are all questions that you need to be thinking through in the time and the space that you've just given yourself, because you've taken the time, either you've gotten off the phone. So, and then number 3, so with the first one again, we have, slow down. Second thing is we want to think through it. And then finally, we want to validate or authenticate or verify what you're, we try to tell everybody, be a detective on your own behalf and come in and say, let's look at the credentials of the people that are talking to you. Let's make sure that we can, verify the source that you're speaking to. Is their business legitimate? Are they legitimate vendors or salespeople. And then finally, under the caveat of validating or authenticating, we always like to say, we like to get people to get a trusted advisor, you know, and it doesn't always necessarily have to be a fiduciary or your financial planner or anything, but it can be a friend, it can be a colleague, it can be somebody in your network that you know is going to give you objective feedback. A lot of times we see scams that are they're protracted and they go over days, weeks, sometimes even months. And if people would just had a frank conversation with somebody that they trust, somebody might identify some more red flags on that and provided the feedback to the victim that might have alleviated the whole scenario. So those are the things that we like to give everybody. Just slow down, think about it, and then validate any information that you get.
That's great advice. If it's too late, if you've already been caught, not caught, but if you realize you've been scammed or you gave your money away, your personal information after the fact, what do you do?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on how it comes in, right? And if it's affiliated with a credit card or your banking, your financial institution, you certainly want to notify them as soon as possible. And they have their own standards and practices in the way that they handle any type of fraud investigation, and that varies from financial institution to financial institution. Secondly, we want you to notify law enforcement. It's something, information is powerful for us, and so, you know, there's not always a direct line between you're reporting to us and like an arrest or something that's going to make you feel really that much better about what had just occurred, but we need that information. We need to put that together with all the other information that we're receiving, and that's going to help us use our tools that we have to help prevent that.
All right. Any other resources or information that you want our viewers to know about?
Not necessarily as it relates to scams.
Okay.
We always want people to be careful. You know, I think something that we always like to remind people is to make sure that they're freezing their credit and they have their credit profile needs to be taken very seriously. So making sure that you get your credit frozen, and just always being careful online, and certainly when you're on the phone getting ready to share personal information or financial information.
All right, good stuff. And I mean, this is an area of crime that seems to be really growing, you know, out there, doesn't it?
It is. The Federal Trade Commission says that in 2024, Americans lost over $10 billion to scams, right? And that matters. That's a big number to me. But that's also just only the reported, losses out there. So we can only extrapolate that that number might be larger.
All right. Good reminders this holiday season as we're in that holiday rush, too. So perfect timing, Sergeant. Thanks for joining us. Good reminder, Carlene, for us to slow down. All right? Do nothing hasty. All right. Sergeant Green from CMPD. Thanks.
All right, we want to get to something live. So happening right now in San Francisco, California, there's a press conference happening. Community organizations, the San Francisco Public Defender's Office, advocates, leaders directly impacted are gathering to demand accountability after shocking reports revealed that deputies ordered incarcerated women to strip in front of male deputies with their body-worn cameras on, which is a violation of state policy. Let's take a listen in to what is being said at this moment at this press conference.
My colleague, Supervisor Walton, who's been calling for the Oversight Board to be adequately funded for a long, long time. I want to thank the advocates as well for years ensuring that the people, the women in this institution continually have people on their side from the outside because they are humans as well. That is what it's about at the end of the day. This is not an example of one officer, one bad apple. It is a group of sheriffs who allowed this to happen. So what made them think that they could actually get away with this? With the humiliation, the sexual violence? What actually led them to think that they could abuse women in this way and not be held accountable? And so I want to thank every single person here for coming up and showing up, because we are judged by how we treat the people with the least amount of rights in our country. even here in San Francisco. So thank you all so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming out, Bev.
I want to let y'all know that there's our altar over here also has the names of folks that are on the inside that folks are just sending a lot of thoughts and prayers for. So if you want, you're welcome to do that. And now I'd like to introduce one of my sisters, Tanish Hollins from Safety and Just, up here to take us in with some words.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tanish Hollins. I'm the Executive Director of Californians for Safety and Justice. And like a lot of people standing here today, I am disgusted and disappointed to hear about the behavior here by some of these deputies in San Francisco. This is gross misconduct and this abuse of authority. And I want to say that it's not about the acts of a couple of individuals. This really is about leadership and accountability that starts at the top. You have to understand that this isn't just about a few bad actors. This is about leadership and systems, because leadership sets the tone. I was born and raised in this city, and I know the culture of San Francisco. It's about compassion for the least of us. It's about taking care of people who are pushed into the margins. It's about seeing the humanity in people when society has thrown them away. And we know that the same people the society throws away are overrepresented in San Francisco County jails, not just here, but across the country. We know that county jails are overcrowded since the passage of Prop 36, not just here in San Francisco, but across the state. And we know that we can expect to see more of this, because the othering that we hear is not just happening here in San Francisco, it's a national tone. That's right. We see it on social media every day. We see the propaganda. We see our leaders of San Francisco walking around behind rap music, stepping and talking about the bad guys being arrested and thrown behind bars. But we don't see solutions being pushed forward in our city. And this is what happens when we are sold the lie that throwing people in jail is a solution to a problem. You get people who are not treated with humanity. You get people whose rights are violated. And this is the outcome. So we do demand justice for people who are inside, because they deserve to be treated with dignity and fairness. I'm saying this as a survivor. I'm saying this as a survivor who has someone who has been charged with the crime of murdering my loved one, who is currently in San Francisco County Jail. And that person has a right to a fair trial. My family has a right to justice. And I don't trust this system, but it cannot continue to fail. So we as taxpayers, we as citizens demand that this system do better, especially when hundreds of millions of dollars are poured into this system while millions of dollars are taken out of our communities. Especially for Black and brown-led organizations that work on the grounds in our community to prevent crimes from happening, to keep our people safe in the first place. So while those dollars are routed to people's jobs and positions who are supposed to be representing public safety and are doing the exact opposite of it, we are here to say no more. We are also here to say that just because you look like our community doesn't mean that you represent our values or our community. That's right. So if you have a job and your job is to represent public safety, I say do better. If your leaders are not demanding that you treat people with dignity and fairness, then your leader should not be a leader. Right. That person doesn't need their job either. Right. And that starts at the top. Thank you.
Okay, and now I'm going to have our the San Francisco Public Defender, Mano Raju. Come on.
Good morning. My name is Mano Raju. I'm the Public Defender for San Francisco. Thank you to the Young Women's Freedom Center and the many community organizations that have come together today to support the women impacted by this mass strip search. First, I want to commend the many women who came forward to report this abusive and horrific behavior by sheriff deputies. No one deserves to be dehumanized, threatened, and humiliated in our jails. San Francisco jails are already filled with people who are vulnerable. Vulnerable because of racism, sexism, poverty, and trauma. What these women endured in this mass strip search and the harassment that continued afterwards is unacceptable and unjust. While the nature of this strip search was particularly egregious, we also know this isn't an isolated incident. In August, the Sheriff's Office issued a policy requiring the deputies strip search people simply for meeting with their attorney, without any reasonable suspicion of contraband. And alarmingly, one of our trans women clients was sexually assaulted by a deputy in the same jail right behind us just a few months ago. We also know that routine lockdowns in the jail have deprived people of exercise, phone calls, visits from family and attorneys, in custody programs, and even basic daylight or fresh air. The sheriffs are not prioritizing these basic functions within the jail, yet they're conducting this type of disturbing and pointless operation. As public defenders, we interact every day in the jails with incarcerated members of our community, and we know there are too many people in our jails who do not need to be there. People who could safely return to the community, people who can make it to court with simple reminders, and people who should be getting health care and housing instead of pre-trial punishment. As of last Friday, November 21st, the jail was over 100% capacity, with 1,337 people locked up, including 89 women. That's more than 1,300 families who will have an empty seat at the dinner table this holiday while their loved one sits in a cage. This is a direct result of archaic policy choices that criminalize rather than help alleviate poverty, mental health conditions, and substance use disorders. I underscore our demands for transparency and accountability from the Sheriff's Office, and I emphasize our demand for change. Change in how deputies treat our clients in the jail, and healing support for the women who were harmed. We also want changes to approaches to health and safety in our communities so less people are at risk of the trauma that was inflicted on our clients at the hands of sheriff deputies. My office, the Public Defender's Office, will continue to do everything we can to support the well-being of our clients, and we will continue to make clear that true safety comes from stability, safe housing, access to health care, and meaningful opportunities, not from locking people in inhumane and dangerous conditions. Thank you to the Young Women's Freedom Center, and thank you to the many organizations involved in organizing today's rally to support our clients.
Okay, so now we're gonna have a Spanish speaker to come up right now. Okay, so this is Veronica from West House.
Buenos días a todos y a todas. Mi nombre es Verónica y soy co-líder de Familias por la Dignidad y la Justicia con nuestra causa. Un grupo de muchas familias que tienen seres queridos encarcelados en la cárcel del condado de San Francisco. Estamos aquí porque conocemos el miedo y la preocupación que se siente cuando alguien que amas está detrás de esas paredes y cuando supimos
All right, so you're watching live now here on Live Impact News. We're at the bottom of the hour, 1:30. You're watching a press conference out of San Francisco where community organizations, the San Francisco Public Defender's Office, advocates, and other leaders are gathering to demand accountability after shocking reports reveal that deputies ordered incarcerated women to strip in front of male deputies with their body-worn cameras on, which is a violation of state policy. All right, so that press conference is happening live. We want to come back out here in studio, and we want to take a break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. Carlene is also here in studio. Carlene is over there fantasizing about what her Thanksgiving plate is going to look like.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about it for about a week now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I kind of gave y'all the game plan. Meg Bragg is also here in studio.
Really, actually, before we get started, want to know, like, what is your favorite Thanksgiving side, or what is it?
Dressing.
Turkey or like, what
Dressing
is
slash
it?
stuffing, whatever y'all call
Yeah.
it, dressing, for sure.
That's you?
Okay.
Okay.
What about you?
What about you?
I want you first.
Oh, okay. All right. Did you know Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday?
No, but that tracks.
Still in my lingo now. Okay, my favorite Thanksgiving side are multiple sides.
Okay.
Can I list them in
Sure,
order?
go for it. We have time.
Macaroni and cheese, mac and cheese, baked macaroni and cheese.
Okay.
With no breadcrumbs. Don't put don't do anything funny with the mac and cheese. I just want baked mac and cheese. All right.
Personal.
I've seen a lot of potlucks on
Yeah,
TikTok.
no, listen, you gotta have good mac and cheese.
Ooh, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Okay.
I digress. Collard greens, yams.
Okay.
Those are my top three. So I can't. You have to have them all, and they all have to kind of touch.
Yeah.
They have to touch.
Okay.
And then some slab of that turkey.
Slap it at turkey. Get at
A
turkey.
roll. Sop it up.
Okay.
Some German chocolate cake.
German chocolate cake.
My
Wow,
mom makes
that's
some.
not
My mom.
something I was expecting either.
You know,
I didn't
just
expect that to come out of your mouth.
Yeah.
My mom makes some really good German chocolate cake.
Wow,
bring
that
us
does.
some
Yeah,
back?
can you
I
like
can.
bring some back?
Yeah.
Sounds amazing.
No.
He's like, it's all for me.
I'm joking. I got you. If
Okay,
you,
cool.
if you, well, Carl, I'm not gonna see you.
You know.
I'll be here.
Yeah, Megan have a piece for me. And
Okay.
Yeah.
You will be back Friday.
Friday, yeah. I'm working all
Okay,
week.
I got you, Carlene. You know I will have you if you.
I know.
You about to be
You
gone
reminded
for.
me that I will not
Yeah.
be here. So
You'll
yeah.
be gone for a long.
Meg
Because I was
and
like,
I got
wait.
you.
All right, Carlene.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm thinking of you, Carlene.
Thank you.
Mine is green bean casserole.
Oh,
Green
I love
bean
a green bean
cra- okay.
casserole.
Green bean
Anyways.
casserole. Okay. Before we.
Anywho.
And that is Megan Bragg with your verified
And there
on
we are,
sides. Okay, let's get to it. So we talked about it earlier. Scams when it comes to holidays. I think about the shopping scams. I think about consumer-based scams,
Yeah.
right? But look, seasonal hiring. There are a lot of folks that want to make a little extra cash,
I mean, in this economy.
and they're looking to do it now in a quick and efficient way,
Sure,
right? They don't
yeah.
want to take up a bunch of time, but you can kind of get caught up in that trap of it could be a scam, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you've gotten those text messages that are like, we have $500 for you
I
if you
got that.
just type like this quick sentence, and I'm always almost like, yes, but because it seems too good to be true, and it is, unfortunately. But let's talk about a little bit about data here, because I love some data. So Indeed says that people searching for jobs is up 27% this holiday season. So definitely people are looking for that seasonal job. The National Retail Federation says that jobs, they're hiring between 256,000 to 356,000 jobs for this season, which is good news. However, that is down about 100,000 jobs. So looking for a little less people. But getting into the scams, the things that people really need to look out for, we spoke with Juliana Rourke from the BBB here in Charlotte. Of course, if it does seem too good to be true, That is one. You're going to have to look out for these places like Indeed and those sort of search engines for jobs. Also, too, making sure that it's not too good to be true, because they really do get you on. You know, if you just work, you can work from home certain hours.
Get your hopes up.
Get your hopes up, right? So look for things like that. Also, too, if you start going through one of these job sites and then they're trying to get you to go on WhatsApp, that's definitely a red flag. They'll try to keep it either within the site or send a true email with the company's name, that sort of thing. Those are things that you want to look out for. And if they tell you to buy equipment before you start the job, and then they're going to say, actually, we sent you too much money, you got to send us back this money, that's something to look out for. I know. And, you know, if you find yourself in one of these scams, you know, you start the interview process, then you're like, wait a second, I don't think this is right. It's good to obviously check your credit report, freeze credit if you think it's gone that far, and go to the BBB and report it, because this is something that they want to know to continue to get the information out there of scammers. So obviously lots of look out for social media, random text messages. These are places that people are not really going to hire you from.
Yeah, they say $3,000. All you have to do is
sit there.
Yeah. Exist.
Exist.
I've been seeing a lot of, and I've been hearing from some folks, I won't say it's happening frequently, but I got at least one email, like an influencer, become an influencer for $10,000. Or like around the holiday, I've gotten it recently, and I'm like, no. This is not real. This is a scam.
Yeah, it is a scam. I think you need to become an influencer yourself, right? Like no one can make you an influencer, I don't think. But I'm not an influencer, so I don't really know.
I don't want to click on that link either.
Yeah, like you, definitely just watch out. If something's too good to be true, if someone says you can just do this for $10,000 or whatever, it's probably too good to be true.
Yeah, I mean...
It really is. And you don't want to get stuck in that, you know, then you got to freeze your credit and all that. It's a pain in the butt. So, just look out for and just use common sense, right?
Yeah.
Also, too, you can look up companies, look up reviews for the company, you know, so make sure it's actually an official site, that sort of thing. So, don't be fooled this holiday season. I know that, you know, people want some extra money to pay for Christmas gifts or holiday gifts or whatever. So, just be aware.
Or people just want to buy their own self, you know, some gifts, you know, some people actually buy the gift and then wrap it
for themselves.
And then, you know, I'm just going to use the name, for example, from Nick to Nick.
Wow.
And then,
that sounds like you have had experience with that.
Not me.
I
would never do that. I would never do that. But some extra dollars would help go a long way.
For all of us, Nick.
For all of us.
I'm sure everyone out there, too, says the same thing.
Meg, we love having you here in studio.
Me too.
You got some more holiday things that you're verifying throughout the week.
Oh, we got you so stock full of everything holiday.
And
turkeys,
everything
we got
you might
Christmas tree stuff, we got some more scams coming your way. Yeah.
Okay, don't ruin it.
But I just have to ask everyone, can you microwave your turkey for Thanksgiving?
Oh, God.
I wouldn't.
If we're having this conversation about microwaving turkeys...
Even if you could, I don't think you should.
You've already lost me.
I've already lost you?
If you're trying to put a turkey in a microwave, you lost me.
Raw turkey.
Raw turkey. Hopefully you clean the microwave out. No. I'm not judging y'all at home. I promise I'm not.
Listen, it can be done. It's been done before.
Oh.
Sure. I mean, there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
But there's also the argument of could and should.
Right. Sure.
But you know, everybody's tastes are different. Some people probably love a microwave turkey.
Yeah. Who knows?
Who knows?
Oh man, anybody have some Advil or Tylenol? I got a headache. Meg Bragg, when can folks check out your story?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock. All right.
In the mic, like 4 o'clock.
Thank you for speaking up. All right, we'll head to break.
Bye.
We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. Thank you for hanging with us this afternoon. We want to get to some top headlines this afternoon. First headline today: closing arguments are expected in the murder trial of two men charged with killing Brooks Sandwich House co-owner Scott Brooks. Authorities say Terry Connor and Steven Staples killed Brooks while he was opening his family's restaurant back in 2019. Now, our Jesse Pierre has been in court and has been covering this trial since the very beginning. She'll have the latest. Make sure you're on our digital platforms from here on WCNC Plus, WCNC.com, also our mobile app for the latest updates. Also, one of the suspects in the Concord tree lighting shooting from Friday, again, we had that coverage live here on Live Impact News, was in court this morning. Police have identified 3 suspects in that shooting that sent 4 people to the hospital during the Christmas tree lighting ceremony in downtown Friday night. Police say this was not a random act of violence. The Concord Police Department said the shooting between 2 people who knew each other disrupted the downtown celebration around 7:30 p.m. So in court today, 17-year-old Kevion Bostick, who is charged as an adult with accessory after the fact and inciting a riot. Again, he appeared in front of a judge this morning in the Cabarrus County courtroom. As soon as we get more information on what happened in court, we will bring that to you here on Live Impact News and here on WCNC Plus. Also today, a big day for a lot of folks in need, as legendary singer Stephanie Mills teamed up with Charlotte Hornets guard LaMelo Ball for a major turkey giveaway. The duo providing food and turkeys for families in need. They were in Plaza Midwood. Our Richard Devane got a chance to check in with Stephanie Mills and LaMelo Ball. You can catch that interview. You don't want to miss that. You can catch that interview right now on our digital platforms. Again, a big day as we start to see these turkey drives and food giveaways throughout the week as we inch closer to Thanksgiving. All right, so we want to head back now to San Francisco, where we took you here earlier. Press conference happening where organizations, the San Francisco Public Defender's Office, advocates, and leaders in the community demanding accountability after shocking reports revealed that deputies ordered incarcerated women to strip in front of male deputies with their body-worn cameras on. Let's take a listen in to what's being said.
Well-being of others and violate the norms of our society that we depend on. We as a community demand an independent investigation that is transparent and keeps the public informed. We call for the suspension of all officers involved, removing them from their duties until the investigation is complete, ensuring the safety of those in custody that spoke out, and making sure that they are prioritized over the protection of the officers. Additionally, we must ensure that no individual should face retaliation for asserting their right to safety while under the law enforcement care. We expect immediate and ethical action from all city leaders to uphold the law and do what is right. For those that had the courage to speak up, we are here. We are here to represent you. We the people refuse to be silent. We the people will rise for our family, for our community, and for every person harmed. We the people will fight for justice, every voice, every life, every time, until justice belongs to all of us. And for those that work here and are in authority, remember, your family, in a blinking of an eye, could be in here too. And how would you feel if somebody was violating your loved one? And what would you do? Would you be silent, or would you be standing out here with all of these people speaking up for your people? Do what is right. Because at the end of the day, you take off that uniform and you are a human being like us, like them. We want what is right for them, just like you would want what is right for your family. Thank you, Sister Warriors.
Thank you. Sister Warriors was birthed out of Young Women's Freedom Center. We started to look at 3 generations of mass incarceration for women, and we knew that we had to create our own little piece of the fight. So thank you, Sister Warriors Freedom Coalition. Okay, I'm gonna invite up Tawala. You know, we read a lot the book by Bell Hooks, Sisters of the Yam, and inside of the literature it tells us that, you know, sometimes when we speak up, we run the risk of not being heard, or that folks will shame us or blame us. And right now I'm going to bring up Tuala, that's so bravely here, that actually experienced some of the and was a witness to the incidents on the inside. So if we can give the space for them to be able to speak up.
Hi, you guys. My name is Tuala Matangi. I was just formerly incarcerated. Man, I spend a lot of time coming in and out of here. But at the end of the day, it doesn't make me who I am, and doesn't break none of my morals that I stand on. I got here about a week after the incident happened, and there's a lot of training cadets in there that were told during the incident, they were told by their supervisor to leave their body camera on during the strip search. Now, during the strip search, when you're incarcerated, for us, if we deny it, if we don't want to be strip searched or P-test, automatically we get a write-up. We lose the little phone calls we have. We lose the 1 hour a day that we get to come out for 30 days straight, or up to 20 strip tests. I mean, the strip and the P-test, like, and this is all happening by assumptions. They're doing stripping the whole pod by assumptions. And some of the people that have been here for years, there's somebody in there for 10 years. There's one woman in there for over 10 years that's inhumane. The car, Maisha, I love you. You know, and these are the strongest women I've ever met in my life in here, you know, and by them being strip searched with their body being recorded, and the supervisors coming back in the pod every single day. He does the walkthrough every morning, Monday through Friday. They do walkthroughs now. Monday through Friday at 8 o'clock, we all got to get up, sit at these tables for a walkthrough. It's the same person doing these walkthroughs at 8 in the morning. And we have to look at them. The new people that are coming in here, some of the new women and new inmates, think that was normal to get strip searched with the body camera on. You know, and that's not okay. And then the people that's been here coming in now for years, whether they come in, that doesn't make them a bad person, but their judgment between right and wrong, that they know it's wrong, but yet we don't know how to speak on this. You guys should have seen us in there. We didn't know how to file the paperwork to make this happen. Even this happening, me speaking, is like, I can't believe it's happening because one person started it and we were reaching out, they were reaching out to so many people in there, sergeants, or who do we go to say this wrong? They say everybody's downplaying everything that just happened, but one of the ladies that volunteer or somehow helped, she started the process off of one woman's paperwork, and off of that one inmate's paperwork, one of the sisters' paperwork, all the other sisters where it happened, we're copying her one paperwork because we still don't know how to speak on what happened. So we're copying these files and dishing them in, and just by one response, whether it was a help or not, that gave us a spark of hope that maybe something's happening out here. And I just want to say, like, that's inhumane, you know, and the fact that he's training the cadets to do that, and they come back in the pod, they felt, the officers that were told to do that, they're in training. They felt it was wrong, but still did it because it was their superior supervisor or sergeant that told them to do it. So it's like, what do they do too? If they're being misled in how to initiate authority. And the thing is, about here, it's supposed to, some of these people are still being held in here because they're public safety. They can't come out because of public safety. Or if it's the officers that's doing the same thing to them, who are they to hold us in there too? Like, how do they expect us to act? How do they expect us to be out here if we feel like the system is set to help us be a better person or to restrict us from doing things that we're not supposed to do? But the people that are holding us in are the exact people doing the same thing. You know, and to the officers that are, you know, that do understand and have empathy, we love you guys. We appreciate that. Don't lose it, and don't intertwine with other officers that are doing what's not right. And I just want to say thank you for letting me speak. To all my sisters in there, I love you guys. I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you, Tuala. Okay, great. Okay, so now I have Bianca from San Francisco Latino Task Force.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Bianca Sanchez, and I'm here representing the Latino Task Force Reentry Committee. I'll be starting off with a statement from my colleague Indiana Barrenechea, who is the Roadmap to Peace Director. As a woman, a mother, a daughter, and an auntie and an advocate for our community, I am outraged and heartbroken by the inhumane and degrading strip searches inflicted on women in the San Francisco County Jail. As a director of Roadmap to Peace and as someone who stands firmly with our sisters behind the walls, I will not stay silent. What these women endured was violating, triggering, disrespectful, and deeply traumatizing. Many of them are already carrying wounds from past violence, abuse, and systemic harm. Instead of being treated with dignity, they were humiliated and forced to relive traumas in front of laughing deputies who held power over their bodies. Let me be clear, even those who are incarcerated have human and civil rights. Their humanity does not disappear because they are inside a cell. What happened was not procedure, it was mass violation, it was gender-based violence, and it was an abuse of power. We are demanding justice and accountability. The deputies involved must be charged, and there must be no bail for those who use their authority to terrorize and violate women in their custody. To the women who survived this, we see you, we believe you, we are fighting with you. Your voices will not be dismissed, your pain will not be ignored, and your courage will not be forgotten. Additionally, I would like to add some words on my behalf. What happened to these women in San Francisco County Jail is unacceptable. No one, no matter their circumstances, deserve to be stripped of their dignity or humiliated by the very own people sworn to protect their rights. This isn't just a policy failure, it's a violation of humanity. We need full transparency, real accountability, and assurance that this will never happen again. Accountability isn't optional, it is overdue. And these women deserve justice, dignity, and respect. They were violated, but they will not be voiceless, not on our watch. We will stand together with them, fight for them, and we will not back down. Thank you.
Okay, now we're gonna call up William Palmer. He's the part of the Sheriff's Oversight Board Police Commission.
Hello, my name is William Palmer. I'm the president of the Sheriff Department Oversight Board. It's okay, I'm new at it, just been elected. We hold our meetings every first Friday of the month from 2 to 5 o'clock. I wish we had this type of turnout. We could do more. So first I want to say that we support the community. As the president, on my agenda is to ask the mayor of San Francisco to fund our commission, our board. They are trying to remove our board because they don't want oversight. And as a formerly incarcerated person, I'm here to let you know that we have a place to be a part of the system to make sure that it runs as we say it should run. So we stand with the women that have been victims in this jail, in other jails, but I also want to say this is not an isolated issue. This is a us issue. It's not just a female issue. It's a us issue under the authority of the sheriffs and the deputies of this county jail and all county jails and all law enforcement. And this issue goes back to the historic ties of law enforcement in this country. It has always been abusive. It is the culture of law enforcement. And so as the president, I can't say a lot, but we are demanding an investigation, and we will not rest until we get the answers that we are seeking. And I ask you, please come show up this Friday coming up, December the 5th, to make your grievance known on record. I tour the jails often, and I get direct complaints and grievances from the people inside. And I make sure before I was president, before I was on a board, that they got to the ears of the people who should hear. And now I'm understanding that the ears that they should hear are us, so that we can mobilize not a reaction, but a response for future abuses that take place. It takes community. So thank you for coming out, and I thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, and now I'm going to invite up Zaire, the National Organizing Director from TGIJ here.
Zen.
Zen.
Hi everyone, I'm Zen Peace. My name's
Zendaya Mills. I work with TGIJP, Miss Majors Black Trans Cultural Center. I'm the National Organizing Director. Again, this is nothing new for us. This is more continuing of the same, which is why there needs to be more political pressure, especially in these moments. These are the same people who are taking people that we're supporting in community, not letting us know where they're going. And apparently they're going to Los Angeles, Lanaya Butler, and we have no way to support her in different ways, and is having the same tactics that are being used here down throughout the entire state. This is the same thing that's happening in the South, in Alabama, in Florida with the girls. This is nothing new. This is nothing new, which is why we need community. The judge asked us, oh, is it really safer for her to be on the streets than in the prison? I would say yes, because at the end of the day, what she's going through right now as we speak and stand here is nothing short. It's nothing that's going to actually support her in the long term. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, so it looks like that press conference cut out. We are going to take a quick break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. So we mentioned this earlier during our top headlines here locally. So a update on the Concord tree lighting shooting that happened on Friday evening. We brought you that coverage live as it was happening, as crime scene tape was going up Friday evening. So here's what we know. Police have identified 3 suspects in that shooting that sent 4 people to the hospital during that Christmas tree lighting in downtown Concord Friday evening. And they say, look, it is not a random act of violence. Autumn Bracey joins us now. She is following the story for us. Autumn, there was a suspect in court. What else can you tell us? What's the latest in this investigation?
So we reached out to some of the officials within the city, and one of the people that I spoke with represents businesses within Concord. One of the things they highlighted was the impact the shooting left, impacting their community as far as a shooting. A lot of them, couldn't imagine that something like this could happen in their community, but it did. And so a lot of them used the moment to allow people to shelter in place after the tragic event of the shooting. Today, we were actually out there speaking with some of the people that were affected, some of the people that were there that night, Friday, when the event unfolded. We spoke with several families. They actually brought their families back out there today to view the tree because, of course, they were impacted during the shooting and they weren't able to see it. And so a lot of surprise, but the families that we spoke with did share with me that they're not going to allow that isolated incident to impact them from supporting future events. And that's something that the Business Association within Concord is pushing as well. Like, this is an isolated event, moving forward, we still want people to support the Concord community, and not just Concord. We have to look at this as, we're officially in the holiday season. So there's going to be a lot of events impacting, the Charlotte area that people are looking forward to coming out. Can people come out to events like this? And so today we also spoke with the organizers of the upcoming Thanksgiving Eve parade that Charlotte puts on every year. This year is the 79th anniversary. And so the organizer wanted people to know that, security is going to be out as always, that they have ambassadors within certain parts of the streets to ensure that everything is okay. Of course, the fire department's going to be out, CMPD, and so they want to reassure everyone that they should come out and be prepared to enjoy themselves, and that, as a team, they're going to do everything they can to ensure everyone's safety.
Yeah, as you mentioned, a lot of people are going to be out during the holiday, and I know that happened in Concord, but you think about other cities, especially Charlotte, with that Thanksgiving parade coming up. Autumn, thank you so much for your time. You can catch Autumn's story at 4, 5, and at 6 o'clock this evening. Again, Autumn, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so let's switch gears for a moment. Let's talk about the weather. It's going to be a wacky weather week. That's just what it is when in the fall here in the Carolinas. It's going to be warm today. We're weather alert for the second part of tomorrow because we got some rain coming in.
And Majestic made a point this morning to say, we don't think it's going to be torrential downpours. It's just they know, our Mets know that people are going to be traveling.
Yes.
So that's why you want to put the warning out there.
Right. And we want you to take your time. Yes. I know you want to get to your destinations. Trust me, I know, I understand. But
we've been there.
We've been there. Be safe. Take your time. You're going to get there. It might take a little longer, but we want you to be safe. That's the most important thing. And then right after that, Thanksgiving, it's going to be cool.
Yeah.
It's going to be, dare I say cold for some folks?
Downright cold. We can
Should I say chilly?
Yeah. We
can
say it. We can say it here.
Chilly.
This is a safe space. We can say these things.
I know. Look, it's going to be a little bit of a shock to the system. So, look. Let's go to our full forecast. Let's check in with our full forecast. Let's take a listen.
Good Monday afternoon. A gorgeous start to the work week. This afternoon, it is going to be cooler than it has been in previous days, but it's still going to be about 5 to 10 degrees above the average high for this time of year. We are watching for that rain coverage to increase for Tuesday. A weather impact alert will continue the scattered showers, isolated thunderstorms all the way through early Wednesday morning. After that, watching a big cool down starting for your Thanksgiving Thursday. Any pre-Thanksgiving plans? Maybe you're headed out to the grocery store. We'll have really nice conditions. You'll notice those clouds will start to increase, especially the high clouds that will make way for some filtered sunshine, but high temperatures, middle to upper 60s. The average high for this time of year is 60 degrees. So like I mentioned, it is still going to be above average. Now we are watching for Tuesday. We have issued a weather impact alert. We are not anticipating any severe storms, but if you're traveling out on the roadways Tuesday, the showers and the rain certainly could disrupt that traffic, could cause some disruptions on the roadways. So just keep that in mind if you are headed out early. We'll see those temperatures stay pretty much in the 60s throughout the day. Just going to be cloudy. Rain chances will really start to ramp up going into those afternoon hours. The bulk of the rain arriving Tuesday night into early Wednesday. That rainmaker off to the west over towards Texas, Arkansas. This is all being pushed alongside of this low pressure system and associated cold front. This will bring strong to severe storms across the southeast, but it's going to weaken out as it pushes across the Carolinas. So a rumble of thunder may be possible with this system, but like I mentioned, we are not anticipating any severe weather. Timing this out for you from start to finish on your Tuesday morning. This is 7 o'clock. If you're headed out early, you are good to go. We've got clouds increase and a few spotty showers, a few sprinkles out there. This really starts to increase in coverage and intensity around lunchtime, especially along and north of I-40. Mountain and foothills getting hammered with rain. This pushes into the greater Charlotte area, especially between about 2 to 4 o'clock, and then will continue for most eastern counties. Note that there will be some breaks in between the rain. It's not going to be an all-day washout, so if you are headed out any evening plans, just keep an eye on that radar. And of course, if you haven't already, download that WCNC app so you can track those showers and thunderstorms in real time. Bulk of the rain, like I mentioned, the heaviest is going to come overnight Tuesday and early Wednesday, likely after midnight. A few lingering showers may be possible for early Wednesday, but as that cold front actually makes a push across the greater Charlotte area, not only will cooler air start to filter in, but drier air as well. Totaling it all up, anywhere from about 1/10 to 1/4, especially south of Charlotte, and north of Charlotte up to 3/4 of beneficial rain across the area. If you are traveling across the Carolinas Tuesday, the western half will see the wettest conditions, but by the time we get into Wednesday, our most eastern communities, especially over towards Charleston and Raleigh, will get in on that rain, but it does clear out by the time we get into Thanksgiving, potentially another round coming as we go into early next week. But your Thanksgiving forecast, well, it looks like this. Wednesday starts off with rain, turning mild and breezy for the afternoon. By Thursday, the colder air arrives, but by Friday, this is when we see the coldest air, likely a freezing start. Both Friday and Saturday morning, you'll note that those high temperatures go from the upper 60s to lower 70s through Wednesday to the 50s, even 50 degrees for a high temperature both Friday and Saturday. So enjoy today. We've got rain moving in by Tuesday.
I told you it was going to be a wacky week, but we will power through and we will have a great holiday, a kickoff to the holiday. All right, so let's take a quick break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. I was going to hum the Monday Night Football
Can't do that,
anthem.
sis.
I can't do that. I can't. I call myself awareness
I'm glad.
is key.
Awareness is key. Good for you.
Well, hopefully we're aware enough to get this victory against Jebs.
In front of everybody. In front of the whole congregation. It's Monday Night Football, babe.
Oh, I was about to call it out a particular person.
Against
Jebs
Bring him in
49ers.
here.
Against Jebs 49ers. This guy said it's not even going to be a close game. He said
McCaffrey revenge game. He's going to go for 100 million yards.
He's been off the squad for like 3 years. I mean, come on, man. What revenge?
Chip on his shoulder.
We did him a favor. We put him on a better team at the time.
He didn't want to go.
He's from California.
Kind of.
He went to school in the Bay Area.
Yeah, he did.
So I mean,
it's all right. Here's I don't want to hear that. I think Bryce Young will do really well today.
Bryce Young, California revenge game.
I think Bryce Young does well today.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Niners put up maybe 40 points.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the Panthers are going to put up how many points?
Like 27. Like not a bad day.
40 points?
40 points. Yeah, man.
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling Brock Purdy's back.
He's got a lot of faith in that little quarterback of his.
Listen, you guys will see. I'm here tomorrow. Live Impact News. You'll get my live reaction.
We also got Panthers on the Plus Tuesday night, 9 p.m. here on WCNC Plus, recapping the game. All right, man, 40 points. All right, Jeb. All right, I just want to.
That's bold.
I save clips, so I remember.
Yeah, you do.
I remember the clip.
One thing Nick Sherman loves is my sports take.
Oh, and they have not aged well.
Cooper Flagg is having a really, really strong freshman campaign.
Cooper Flagg, the next LeBron James.
Yeah.
That's what was said. Yep. So we'll see. We still have a game to play. It's going to be exciting. Panthers in primetime. It's been a minute since Panthers have been in primetime. I believe the last Monday night game was Bryce rookie year against the Saints.
Yeah.
Okay. And it wasn't great. But it was a rookie. Things change. That was a home game, actually. So we'll see, man. It's in the Bay. Niners, Panthers. All right. So a guy who's been a big bright spot for the Panthers, T-Mac. No, his name is not Tet. It's T-Mac.
T-Mac.
Nalo. This dude is a superstar in the making.
The offensive rookie of the year.
I think he should be.
I think he should be.
I think
agree.
he's an impact player. Our Nick Carboni, I'm kind of jealous of it. Nick Carboni got a chance to sit down one-on-one with T-Mac, the guy. All right, from the Pac. Is it still the Pac-10?
No, they're in the Big 12 now.
Arizona's in the Big 12?
Yeah.
I can't keep up with conference.
That's a tough one. It also has been the Pac-10 in years.
Yeah, I was about to. Yeah, so I don't know, man. It's Pac something, big something. All right, let's get to the interview.
You've got the 6th most receiving yards in the NFL right now, 10 games into your career. Is this where you thought you'd be right now?
I had no vision of what my future was looking like at the time, but I'm just grateful for every opportunity, every chance that I get.
Opportunity to play in prime time, that's a rarity around here lately. What excites you about playing Monday Night Football in San Francisco?
First of all, the whole world is watching you. So, you got to be on your P's and Q's. You got to show up. If there's any day to show up, that's the day. But, I feel like, this team has been doing good enough to where we finally get our TV time. We get a primetime game finally. So, really just a chance for this team to just showcase our talents.
Coach just told us there's a little more gas in the tank this week. What's the feeling around this group as you gear up for that big game? Guys like Chuba Hubbard told us this week this is something he's dreamed about around here for a long time. Here you are, year one, and getting that chance.
Yeah. I can't speak on the guys that's been here, so because I don't know what that feels like, but. This is a chance for everybody to, be in the primetime game, show off what they can do, and, the whole world is watching and see what we can go out there and accomplish.
What did it mean to you to share that award with your quarterback in the game he had in Atlanta? And you've known this guy since you were in high school, and you saw what he could do. What can Bryce Young do in this league that maybe he's starting to show people a little more of lately?
Everybody saw firsthand what he can do, and that was just a little taste, So, obviously I'm fortunate enough to share the award with him. Obviously, I wouldn't be achieving the award without him anyway. So, I feel like that goes hand in hand. But, I'm really proud of what he's doing and what he's accomplished so far. And, I have no doubt in my mind that, we'll see a lot more of that in the near future.
That was your first trip to Mercedes-Benz Stadium, you told us. What did it sound like when you scored with a minute 8 left in that game to go ahead?
It was quiet. But that's what you want to hear when you're on the road. When you score and the crowd's quiet, it means you're doing something good. So, you know, you always want to silence the crowd on road games.
We all know you've got that kind of chill SoCal Hawaii vibe to you. It doesn't seem like the pressure of being a team's #1 receiver right away has gotten to you. What has that expectation felt like for you in your first year?
Shoot, as far as the pressure, I don't feel no pressure just because, you know, it's football at the end of the day. The game's not going to change for us, and you know, I got a lot of good people in our receiver room, coaches, and as well as other playmakers on the offense, just to help me, you know, to make me feel confident, and you know that I can rely on them, you know, to make a play, like they do for me. You know, they rely on me to make a play. So yeah, I got no pressure at all, man. So I feel like every single one of us in the receiver room could be the receiver one, you know, regardless of the stats and regardless of what I'm doing. I feel like everybody's talent matches up with each other.
It's been a long time since this team could say it was above 500 in the hunt, ready for a primetime game in mid-November. What does it mean to you to be a part of that turnaround here in Carolina?
I mean, yeah, it means a lot. You know, obviously, the point of this this game is just to win. So, you know, as much as we can do that, we want to do that. So, you know, we're going to continue to stack days and try to take it as far as we can, and you know, we'll see what we can do. I
think more and more people are picking up on T-Mac, that it's T-Mac, right, and not Tet. You still get a lot of Tet, and you. No,
I get a lot of them, but I just don't answer. So, you know, if there was real fans, they know not to call me that because I'm not even going to respond.
T-Mac, I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
I appreciate you for having me. Much love.
All right, so that was T-Mac and our own Nick Carboni going one-on-one ahead of that prime time matchup. All right, so we want to go now to Newark, New Jersey, where Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy is holding a press conference ahead of a busy holiday season. Take a listen to him.
Administrator of the FAA, Brian Bedford. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
You know, it was in my head for a while. No, you don't. Always our great administrator. I want to talk about our holiday travel coming up. We're going to have a busy road, rail, and air as we come into this Thanksgiving season. Just want to run through some of the numbers that we're seeing and what we expect as we look forward to the next week of travel. So by car per AAA, we anticipate seeing 73 million Americans hitting the road this Thanksgiving season. We anticipate the busiest travel on the road in the afternoon of this coming Tuesday, Wednesday, and Sunday. So if you're planning your travel, think about when you depart, because the afternoons of those days are going to be busier than the rest. This travel season by car, we have incredible gas prices, on average 3.2 cents a gallon. So if you're going to travel by car, you're going to be able to put gas in your vehicle at a very affordable price. On top of that, if you're flying and you need to rent a car domestically, our car rental prices are down by 15%. So it feels very good where we sit with the president's economy and what he's done with regard to his energy independence push and energy dominance push. In regard to rail, we anticipate there will be 1.2 million passengers this year by rail, a very big number. In regard to air travel, this is going to be the busiest Thanksgiving that we have on record. And I think you all might note that it seems like every Thanksgiving, every Christmas, every 4th of July seems to be an announcement of record travel. I'm going to come to that in a second. But this week there'll be 31 million passengers flying by air as we look to the week. That's per the airline industry. Tomorrow will be the busiest day. There'll be 52,000 flights tomorrow as Americans board aircraft, fly across the country. Maybe they're going to go to sporting events, they're going on vacation, or hopefully they're going to spend time with their families. Now, we anticipate there's going to be solid staffing in our towers and TRACONs and centers throughout the airspace. And that's different than what we had over the shutdown. But we do have some weather in the forecast. I'm not a weatherman, but if you look out to the Seattle area, in the Midwest, the Great Lakes, we are going to have some weather. And so if you are traveling by air, I would just ask that you stay in touch with your airline or update your apps so you know if your flight has been delayed or moved at all as you're planning to come to the airport. Always great to stay in touch with the airline that you've booked with. Just real quick, I want to touch on a couple other issues. You know, during the shutdown, 44 very long days. It went pretty well at the start of the shutdown, but in the last couple of weeks of the shutdown, things became very challenging in the airspace. Many of you reported on it. We had significant delays and cancellations. The administrator, in consultation with DOT and his safety team, we took historic action to reduce the capacity in the airspace because of what we saw in the staffing in our towers. And that decision was not made lightly, but it was based on the stats that we were seeing and what we thought was appropriate to maintain a safe airspace. You've also heard that the president announced that we should reward those great air traffic controllers who didn't miss a beat. They never missed a day. And so Administrator Bedford and I announced last week that we are giving $10,000 bonuses to the air traffic controllers who didn't miss a day and the technicians. You don't report on the technicians a lot, but the technicians are the ones that come into our facilities and make sure that some of our very old equipment is actually operational. And if they don't come to work, we don't have equipment that works, you can have all the air traffic controllers you want in the tower or TRACON, you're not going to be able to control the airspace because the equipment is down. And so those two working together made sure that we had a very functioning and safe airspace. So at the president's lead, we decided we would give them a $10,000 bonus, a reward for their great action during the shutdown. I mentioned that this is the most historic travel Thanksgiving we've had, the busiest one. And I don't know if you all know this, but here at Newark, there was a lot of press at Newark by what happened in the spring. We had two outages, 30 seconds each, and then the radar had a reboot. So we didn't have radar in this facility at this airport for a minute and a half. And it was troubling for everybody. And this team, DOT and FAA, worked with the CEOs of the companies that provide services to us, and we very quickly remedied the problem. And so now for the New York traveling area, so JFK and LaGuardia, this is the most on-time airport that you have in the New York airspace. That's the kind of dedication and devotion and speed at which the Trump administration, the FAA, and the DOT are working to fix the problems that we face in the airspace. And I think it's important, again, the busiest Thanksgiving, we're going to have a busy Christmas, and as it gets busier, it underscores the point that we need a brand new air traffic control system. Again, we're going to add these eVTOLs, the Ubers in the air, and we have drones that come into the airspace. And so to sit back and think that we're going to not have more delays or more cancellations if we don't build a new system is asinine. So in the big beautiful bill, we got $12.5 billion to start the process. We need another $19 to $20 billion to complete the process. We can't start that phase of the build until the Congress gives us the money. So we wait. And the longer we wait, the more time it takes. And so I would just encourage all of our House members and senators to look at what the FAA needs to build this system the right way that Americans can be proud of and send that money to us. And a lot of us have talked about politics, and there's a lot of blame that's sent one way or the other. This is an issue that everybody agrees on. It's not Republican, it's not Democrat, it's not conservative, it's not liberal. Everybody agrees that we need the money to make sure we have the best-in-class air traffic control system. And so I would encourage the Congress to get to work and find that money, and I know when they do, the president's going to sign that bill. But I bring that up because if we want to have less stories about delays and shutdowns, let's actually do the work to fix the system that oftentimes is causing those delays and those cancellations, and that is building a brand new system, and we can't do it again without Congress's help. I do want to pass it off to our administrator, who has done an absolutely fantastic job at the FAA, working massive hours with his team as we were navigating the risks in the airspace during the shutdown. And he's hit the ground running. He was confirmed this summer, but I couldn't ask for a better teammate and partner as we've gone through this process. I'm going to give you Brian Bedford, Administrator of the FAA.
Thank you, Secretary Duffy, and good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Well, as the Secretary's already pointed out, it's going to be a busy week for us. The airlines, the travel sector in general, airports, TSA, FAA especially. For us, this week is our Super Bowl. And I'm here to tell you we've got a great plan. We're past the lapse. Controllers are back at work. They're excited to be back on the job. They're excited to be compensated to be back on the job. So we're all thrilled that we're happy to tell you we've got a great plan. The Secretary mentioned there's some weather in the forecast, but please be confident that the folks in the towers and in the TRACONs and the en route centers, they have a great plan, lots of different strategies we run to manage traffic safely and efficiently in all conditions. So again, we're very happy to be back. We're looking forward to an extraordinarily successful week of travel for the literally tens of millions of Americans that will be flying this week. Safety, of course, is our top priority, and every decision we make is built off of that foundation. And I just want to assure the traveling public that we're ready and we're able to get the job done. So again, please know you should fly with confidence. Of course, I would tell everybody to, use some common sense, right? We want to make sure that you're consulting with the TSA website, that you're packing smartly. You don't have to bring everything with you, right? So pack so that you can get efficiently through the airport security. Want to encourage folks to come early. It will be busy, so the earlier you get there, the less stress that you're going to have. And of course, we hope we have everyone treating one another with respect. So follow the golden rule. I will tell you, however, that we will not hesitate to utilize our enforcement authorities if anyone is causing any problems in the airport or on aircraft. So any intimidation, any threats, any misbehaving on board aircraft, not listening to the pilots or the flight attendants, that will be pursued vigorously through my office. So again, I want to wish everybody a great Thanksgiving holiday. Fly with confidence. We look forward to serving you this week. Thanks so much.
We'll take your questions in a second. Just want to reiterate, if you're, I fly a lot and I've had delays, I've had cancellations like many of you, but if you are delayed or you're canceled, know that it comes from a place of your safety in mind. If it's weather, if it's mechanical, if it's air traffic control, staffing issues, those are the factors that are considered as those decisions are being made. And again, it's strictly based on safety. And again, we want you to get to where you're going, and so safety is paramount. The administrator mentioned civility. Some of you might have noticed that we've launched a civility campaign. And I think it's important as we travel that we think about not just ourselves, not just our families, but we think about those who are around us. And we call our better angels. In a busy time, and again, the airports are going to be packed. TSA lines may be a little longer. And as you might not be able to find a seat as you're by your gate because of the number of flights that are going out or coming in. But I think we have to think about how do we do a better job? How do we, maintain maybe some of that frustration we have as we travel this Thanksgiving season? Maybe we should say please and thank you to our pilots and to our flight attendants. I think, again, I call this just maybe dressing with some respect. Whether it's a pair of jeans and a decent shirt, I would encourage people to maybe dress a little better, which encourages us to maybe behave a little better. Let's try not to wear slippers and pajamas as we come to the airport. I think that's positive. If we can help someone as we're getting on the aircraft that might need some help putting their bag in the overhead bin, and you're a little stronger, a little buffer, you've been lifting, stand up and offer to grab that bag and put it up for someone who's having a more difficult time. Common courtesy and civility, I think, is going to work well. And I'd ask you to please be patient with our TSA and our gate agents. And again, they're working their hearts out to make sure that this is the best experience possible for you and the safest experience possible for you. And again, a little gratitude goes a long way. And if we all do that, I think we're going to have a far better travel season. And by the way, we're going to get to our families on Thanksgiving with a lot better attitude. Who couldn't ask for that? You guys can fight about politics when you get home for Thanksgiving. Let's have this be the pre-run that is politic-free and very friendly, with please and thank yous and a lot of gratitude for all the work that happens to get you to your final destination. With that, we're happy to take some questions if you have some for us. I appreciate that. I actually almost wore a pair of jeans, and I'm like, I better not if I'm going to talk about dressing up.
Chris Van Cleve from CBS News, sir. If you'll indulge me, 2 quick questions. One, every time we have talked to flyers in the last 2 weeks since the shutdown ended, they've told us the same thing, that they had some apprehension about whether they should keep that Thanksgiving flight, whether they'd be on time, whether it'd be safe. What do you say to flyers who are still a little unnerved after what they saw during the shutdown?
So, we talked about that as we went through the shutdown. I didn't know when it was going to end. I didn't have a crystal ball, and we saw things getting very bad in regard to on-time flights and cancellations. Well, the shutdown ended soon enough. Our controllers, as the administrator just mentioned, are back at work. And so, again, you're seeing more on-time performance in the airspace. And again, our priority is your safety. And it's always been our priority. And that's why there were the level of delays and cancellations. So, again, if you can still get a ticket and you can still fly and your family still wants to see you, book that ticket, jump on a flight, and don't be afraid to fly this season. Again, I can't control the weather. I can't control the mechanics of an airplane. But things look good from the air traffic control side. We are back to staffing levels that we had before the shutdown, I believe. So,
and on the subject of air traffic, you got some pushback from the union, and I've heard from some controllers who maybe missed a day because of a child care issue or missed a day because of the stomach flu. For the folks that were there, working 5 days or 6-day weeks for the bulk of it, but maybe missed a day here or there, is there something you can do to recognize those? I've said that there were some that were consistently out, and for the most part, everybody else did the best they could.
I think, you see, the administrator and I have been very grateful through the course of the shutdown and recognizing some of the difficult circumstances our controllers were going through. And we talked about that quite a bit and recognized it. But we have to look and say, where's the cutoff? And if you got 100% on your test, you get the sticker that's a scratch and sniff sticker from the administration. Again, I know some people are not pleased with where the cutoff was, but to be clear with regard to our air traffic controllers, even those who had unique circumstances come up, maybe they would have been there, but for they got sick or a child got sick, all of them received full pay. Even the ones that didn't show up as much as they should have. Everybody got paid for every single day they would have worked, even though they didn't work. So there is a benefit that comes, but this is the above and beyond. $10,000 is a big paycheck, and again, who should get that? I think the ones that had the peer record, and that's the decision that we made. And I think in the future, a lot of controllers would think, hey, there could be a reward when I show up. And I'm going to do all I can to be there every single day to serve the American people. And I know that I'll get paid at one point, but if I have a perfect attendance record, there could be a reward at the end of that rainbow. You want to add anything to that?
Well, I'll just say this. I spent the morning over at the Newark Tower. And their focus is on not just running a great air traffic control system for Americans traveling this week, but they're back focused on modernization. They want to talk about how we get rid of all of the old equipment that's sitting there. So if we really want to talk about how we can help our controllers be their very best and do the best service, the Secretary's right. We've got to keep our eye on the ball on modernizing the system, getting rid of the floppy disks, getting rid of the analog NAS, getting rid of the 30, 40-year-old equipment. We've got a ground surface radar here that's got one operable channel on it right now, and we don't have spare parts. So that's what the controllers are focused on, not this distraction of the award levels or participation. They're focused squarely where we want them focused, is making sure we have the safest, most reliable NAS in the world. So again, we're going to work shoulder to shoulder with those men and women to make sure we get them the right equipment, the best equipment to do the best job they can for the American public.
Yeah. We've seen an uptick in maybe a degradation in civility in the airspace, and so I thought it is appropriate to again, you can't legislate that, right? You can't mandate it. But I think if you ask people, could we do better? Could we be better? I think you won't get a better result unless you make the ask. And so I'm just making the ask. Let's all travel better together. And again, I think it honors our country, it honors our families, it honors our fellow passengers. And so I've made the ask, and again, I think we can do a better job. And by the way, most flights are pretty darn good, and people do behave really well with one another. It's just a few of those times where, again, don't take your shoes off and put your feet on the chair ahead of you. That's just, or maybe don't play your movie without headphones on. Just some simple things that can annoy the folks around you. We don't have to do that. And so just be cognizant and courteous. That's the ask.
During the shutdown, you mentioned that 15 to 20 controllers per day were retiring. I'm wondering if that number has kind of leveled out to the normal levels, and do you expect that to impact either holiday travel or travel going forward in the future?
So I'll kick it to the administrator in just a second, but you all know we're short air traffic controllers, and we were doing both ends. One, we were trying to bring more air traffic controllers through the academy, get them trained up and get them certified. By the way, we are 20% up year over year because of this surge that we've tried in the academy at Oklahoma City. That's the new controller. The experienced controller can retire after 25 years of service. We asked them to stay on. We said, would you please stay, don't retire. We'll give you a 20% upfront cash bonus per year that you're willing to stay beyond your date of eligible retirement. And we did see a number of those older, more experienced controllers take the retirement. And again, but that goes to show you how hard we're thinking about how we can make up that difference as fast as possible. I'm not sure if you have any new numbers on that or not. I know we had the numbers from the shutdown, but any new numbers on that?
I don't have any specific numbers to share on that. I will tell you that putting in paperwork to retire isn't the same as leaving the job. So we're more than adequately staffed to get through the holidays. We are getting more folks through training faster than what we have seen in prior years. That's, again, putting incentives for trainers, to get guys signed off more quickly and more focused curriculum. But look, we are understaffed, so we're absolutely moving heaven and earth to continue to move folks into training and through training without reducing standards. So again, I think we've got a great plan this week to run, and hopefully, and we haven't seen any continuation of some of the paperwork inserts we were seeing over the shutdown period.
Of the things that are in your control, Mr. Secretary, you've talked a lot about staffing returning to normal. Obviously, you want to upgrade the technology, but of the things that are in your control, what are you most concerned about this week with holiday travel, or is it simply the weather?
Well, listen, I wouldn't say I'm concerned. I just think it's important that we know as Americans what we're in for. We're going to have a lot of travelers on the road, a lot on the rail, and we're going to have the busiest Thanksgiving season ever. And so it's going to, with that, it's going to be a bit congested. Let's be ready for that. And again, as the administrator said, come a little early. Don't be rushing through the airport because the lines might be a little bit longer. And then, tack on your best attitude, and we're going to get through this and have a great Thanksgiving with our families.
Are we back to normal as far as normal flight capacity as far as the airlines are concerned at this point?
So we had in regard to the 10% announcement that we mentioned during the shutdown. The first tranche of that was a 4% reduction, and then we went another 2 for a total of 6% reduction in flight capacity. Yes, that's all been rolled back, and we're at no restrictions in regard to flight capacity.
Following up on that, will the FAA issue enforcement actions against the airlines that comply?
Yes, the intent is that we will be sending out letters of investigation to any of the airlines who we don't feel lived up to the requirement to reduce capacity. That's going to be an ongoing investigation. When we have something to report, we'll share it with you.
And that's important. We want, when we have a directive from the FAA, we need our airlines to comply with it. And through that investigation, if those airlines did not comply, some did not comply, there should be accountability, and that'll be an ongoing discussion and investigation. Yes?
I was talking to Laura Hafley with
All right, so you're watching a press conference happening live there in Newark, New Jersey's airport. That's Secretary Sean Duffy speaking about what's going to be a jam-packed holiday travel for airlines and airports. We're going to get back to that, but we want to take a quick break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sertivant. We want to get you back now to that press conference in New Jersey. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy speaking on just a jam-packed holiday season, as a lot of folks are set to fly starting this week and then as we head into Christmas. So let's take a listen in.
But I don't know where that review is, and if they've said they've complied, I got to verify that with our team. Haven't done that yet, but look forward to doing that. One more question. Come over here. Yeah.
I'll take that. Oh, sure. So there was a 3-year protocol agreement signed with the union to cover the relocation. We're coming up within 1 more year, a little over a year, but I think we're looking into the future, creating an opportunity that says we believe Newark will want to grow. We're going to need more controllers there. So if any of the controllers from the N90 facility would like to stay behind, they're welcome to do so. And again, we're trying to make sure that we've got the rest of the workforce trained up in a way that we can allow those folks to head back home if that's their desire.
So just one last point. Again, this is a great holiday. Americans come together. We eat a little turkey. I guess in New Jersey they do a little 7 fishes. I'm not a part of that, but it's a great time. Let's all slow down. Let's all buckle up. Let's all drive safe on the roads. Let's all come early to the airports. Let's all put our best attitudes on, and let's have a great Thanksgiving week as we travel to see the ones we love most. Thanks very much.
All right, that press conference wrapping up there in Newark. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy updating on things like air traffic controllers and how airports are going to handle the influx of folks coming to travel during a busy holiday season. All right, so we want to head to something live. Let's head over to New Hampshire, Concord, New Hampshire. We're happening right now. The cold case unit there in New Hampshire is making a significant announcement in a decades-old cold case. Let's take a listen in.
Going cold. The state won the legal battle, but then the investigation was derailed. Despite the fact that the Attorney General's office at the time filed a memo stating that it had probable cause to arrest Ernest Gable, to charge him, the samples that we discussed were sent to the FBI's forensic lab. And in December of 19, a report in this case. And the report was using microscopic hair analysis, a technique that was then considered the gold standard. And that report incorrectly concluded that the 5 hairs that were found on top of Ms. Lord's body were microscopically different from Mr. Gable's, that he did not deposit those hairs. And that single flawed report contradicted fingerprints, his motive, his behavior, the compelling timeline that had been put together by investigators, and it was accepted as definitive truth that halted prosecution. It created an insurmountable barrier to the prosecution, and as a result, the case went cold. Then Concord police detective Todd Flanagan reopens the investigation, and that led to the resubmission of evidence for modern-day DNA analysis. And the science was definitive. The New Hampshire State Police Forensic Laboratory eventually, over the course of years, was able to confirm that the DNA profile obtained from the seminal match to Ernest Theodore Gable. And that's 1 in 6.5 million within the African American population. The reality, however, is that the DNA match was, it couldn't overcome that flawed hair analysis from the FBI. And the lingering shadow of that flawed FBI report had created an insurmountable barrier. Now, the New Hampshire Cold Case Unit took a final and to correct that critical piece of misinformation and finally link the DNA to the murder. The technique used at the time, that microscopic hair comparison, it was considered the gold standard in forensic science, with the FBI being the leading authority. That process involved looking at hairs under a microscope and comparing physical characteristics of the hair under a microscope to determine if they matched the suspect. And unlike DNA, microscopic hair analysis cannot definitively link hair to one individual. It's just not possible, and it's since been debunked. It can only determine that hairs could have come from certain classes, so class groups, race, origin. And Judith definitive, concluding that the hairs found at the scene did not originate from Mr. Gable. And that authoritative but derailed the entire case for decades. And despite all the compelling circumstantial evidence against him, the case went cold. The flaws in microscopic hair comparison have since been thoroughly revealed and acknowledged, and we're still learning about this area of science. But direct hair comparison is flawed, and it's no longer used by reputable agencies. Starting in around the 2015s, reviews by the National Research Center and others demonstrated that the technique was subjective and often lacked scientific basis. In fact, a major 2015 review by the Justice Department and the FBI itself found that the FBI analysts had overstated or provided erroneous testimony regarding microscopic hair analysis in more than 95% of the cases they reviewed where an analyst had to testify against the defendant. In those cases, that flawed analysis led to prosecutions. In this case, it led to exclusion of the perpetrator. We're still learning this flawed science. However, the technique is no longer considered reliable for positive identification in criminal cases. In the Lord case, it took the cold case unit's final review to formally discredit the 1975 FBI report, finally removing the decades-old hurdle that had obscured the truth. The final review team uncovered deeply disturbing patterns of sexual violence that directly correlated with the facts of Miss Lord's murder. As previously mentioned, former girlfriends detailed how Mr. Gable had forced non-consensual acts and how he would put a pillow over their heads during sex. Critically, he planned to kill one woman by putting a plastic bag over her head and strangling her, which is something that witnesses detailed. Mr. Gable's criminal history has a history of burglary and a history of violence. The DNA match, combined with all of the circumstantial evidence in Mr. Gable's case, establishes a pattern of behavior, and it leaves no doubt as to the identity of the perpetrator. So based on the totality of the evidence, irrefutable DNA, the fingerprints, the witness testimony, Mr. Gable's clear pattern of violence, the Attorney General's office has concluded that if Mr. Gable were alive today, he would be charged with first-degree murder for causing Miss Lord's death, before, after, or while engaged in the commission of, or while attempting to commit aggravated felonious sexual assault. Ernest Theodore Gable was 24 years old at the time of the murder. He escaped earthly justice, dying in Los Angeles, California on February 1st, 1987 from a stab wound while using the alias of Ernest Stansberry. While criminal charges cannot be brought, the case is now officially marked as closed and solved. Our final thoughts today are with Judith Lord. As I said, she was a daughter, she was a sister, she was a friend and a mother, and her life was stolen from her. We hope that this final resolution, while nearly 50 years in the making, provides some measure of peace and the beginning of closure to Judy's family and to the entire Concord community. I'd now like to welcome Victim Witness Specialist Courtney Sorales to read a few statements by the family.
Hi, my name is Courtney. I'm an advocate here at the New Hampshire Attorney General's office. I first have an impact statement on behalf of Judy's family, written by her sister, Joanne. It reads, "On behalf of the family, in regards to the death of Judy Lord, we would like the public to know that in spite of it happening many years ago, it still has a negative impact on the family, especially myself. There are many words to express how this has made me feel anger at the loss of her future and the unknown of her future and what she could have become. Judy was a kind person who loved her son very much. She stated many times to me that she wanted him to have a good upbringing. I know that she would have been a great mother had she lived. She was an avid guitarist and lover of music, often playing her guitar anywhere she happened to be. We lost someone that can never be replaced." The next statement is from Judy's son, Gregory Stephen Lord Jr. It reads, "I don't remember my mother. I was young. I always keep her memory inside my heart. She will always be with me. I'm told I look just like my mom, and I'm proud of that. I've been through a lot in my life, and in the dark times, I've always thought of my mom. I want to say thanks to my stepmom and dad. They've taught me right from wrong. I also want to thank Concord PD for their persistence in my mom's case. Detective Wade Brown, and his colleagues. I recognize that this murder has ruined my mother's side of the family. We've been distraught for too long. My only hope is that this closure brings peace to my mother's family. I want my mother's sisters to find peace and closure amongst themselves. My hope is that there is no animosity among my mother's sisters. I found peace myself and a sense of closure. Closure for what happened to her, it gives me strength to move forward. Thank you.
Now I'd like to welcome Concord Police Chief Bradley Osgood.
Today is a significant day for the city of Concord. For nearly 50 years, the murder of Judy Lord, has remained a heartbreaking chapter in our community's history, one that affected a family, unsettled a neighborhood, and stayed with generations of Concord police officers. It is a case residents still talk about, one neighbors ask about, and one that has lived in our city's collective memory for decades. While today's announcement cannot erase the pain Judy's family has endured, it allows the community to finally take a breath that it has been holding for a very long time. This case touched Concord in a deeply personal way. Judy was a young mother living in a neighborhood where people knew each other and looked out for one another. Her murder shook that sense of safety. For many in our community, it became a painful reminder that even a close-knit city like ours, tragedy can strike in ways that feel senseless and profoundly unfair. What today's resolution provides is not only justice for Judy, it provides clarity and truth for the people of Concord. To Judy's family, your strength and patience over these decades have been extraordinary. Concord has never forgotten Judy, and we hope today brings you some measure of peace. As we revisited this case, one thing became immediately clear. The original 1975 Concord.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick 2-minute break. We'll be back right after this with a story that you're going to see right here on WCNC Charlotte tonight. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Thanks for coming back here on WCNC Plus. We're going to bring in Miles Harris, who's got more right now on this amazing organization that is making college degrees accessible to mothers. And I know there's been a lot of talk about single parents, right? Those type of households, especially this type of economy. There's a lot of pressures on moms and dads across America right now. But this specific local nonprofit, talk a little bit more about what they're doing to try and get these moms to their college degrees here, Miles.
Yeah, Colin. So this is a great organization that we found out about in Charlotte called Answer Scholarships. And so they're a program that helps really bridge that gap for moms trying to get that education to kind of really set themselves up, not just for success for themselves, but also for their families for years to come. So I got a chance to talk to this organization today at Johnson C. Smith University and talked to the founder of the organization that kind of dove into what this program is. And so it's so much more than just offering the scholarship money, right? So the scholarship money that they give helps these kids, and I should say these mothers, go to school. But it does more than that, though, too. It offers mentorships, but it also offers some type of career learning as well to help them not only get the degree, but also set them up on the next steps after that degree as well. Okay. So getting that chance to really hear from the founder, but then also talking to a mom that's getting set to graduate next year was truly a remarkable piece to really hear her why. She started school at 18, was in college for a semester, ended up finding out that she was having a kid, and figured out that she couldn't balance out both things. So stepped away, wasn't able to kind of get that back into school mentality, but also finding the finances to get back into school as well. So this program, again, really bridges that gap for these moms to find out how to get their education, get their degree, but also set them up for success for years to come, really.
Let me ask about the funding for this, because a lot of people are like, man, how do they get these moms to where they need to be for college degrees? So, I mean, is it mostly philanthropic efforts here? What does that look like?
It's philanthropic, and so getting a chance to hear from them, they've been doing this for nearly 20 years now. Okay. They've helped out over 150 moms, and as far as the scholarship money that they've been able to fund, nearly $1 million. And so Susan's the organizer. She mentioned that she had a similar situation happen to her, at least from the financial side of things, finding out the financial burdens of trying to get a degree and finding out just how maybe less accessible or easy that is for moms. Yeah. So finding that out through experience, setting this up now is helping other moms go through a similar path. And again, finding out that this is what they're doing now, and they're actually trying to expand with this. So the big thing with this one as well is, obviously we know technology nowadays, online courses is a really big thing. Yeah. So now they're also providing that for moms to be able to do all of the courses online, which is a big help. Wow. So they can get all their degrees done through online, through these programs and schools, things of that nature. And so that's the big takeaway from this, though, too, is they're obviously doing a really good job of making efforts currently, but they're expanding those efforts to helping out more moms and more accessibility when it comes to them getting those degrees as well.
Quick question about, I've seen where some of these type of organizations, there's one that I'm thinking about that's in Ohio specifically that offers like childcare for the moms as well during the day. Is there anything like that, or any other benefits that they can take advantage of?
Not anything as far as like childcare. Okay, they do offer other assets and programs to help with these moms more so as well.
Got it.
But again, like trying to do what they can as far as helping them get those degrees is the biggest thing is take away. And so I will say, and I'm going to kind of tease and spoil a little bit of my story here, but talking to one of the moms today, and like I said, she's getting ready to graduate next month. Okay. And so I said, you've got a daughter who's in her teens now. Have you had this conversation as far as, how this is helping your family out for the future, right? As far as the scholarship, as far as the money, as far as the efforts with this. And she goes, yeah. And she said, to be honest with you, I didn't want to graduate. I didn't want to walk at least at graduation. But she said, now my desire to walk is to show my kids and show my family that this is something that they can do, especially with the support of other organizations. So a really cool takeaway from that to learn that this is impacting in so many ways for the next generations to come as well.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And like I said, providing access, that's the biggest hurdle, right, for these moms to get to, providing funding, because that's a big barrier to entry and a lot of respect for folks just to be able to have the economic willpower to do so, right, aside from the bills and everything else they have to pay, child expenses as well. So this is huge that they're doing it. What time's your story here tonight?
4:30.
Okay.
So.
All right. He'll be inside the studio, I think, at 4:30. Miles Harris reporting for us. Miles, thanks, man.
Appreciate you, Colin.
All right. Appreciate you. Guys, we're going to go. I'm sure that you probably saw this. Bernie Kosar, a long-awaited liver transplant happened just last week. And today there's an update, and actually he's speaking right now. There's another president of UH Cleveland Medical Center who's going to speak along with him. But let's hear his revelations from this surgery from last week.
person, but did it begin to enter your mind that maybe this is bigger than that?
So part of it, and again, I'm not trying to amplify a story, and I'm not trying to embellish and sensationalize anything. There was no way I thought I was going to be here for my 62nd birthday. There's no way I thought I was going to be healthy, let alone walking out of here. So the thoughts, the dark, the positive stuff that I put out, the way I do live, the way I do think, I believe, feel some karmic spirituality of that, because bluntly, 3 months ago, 10 weeks ago, when that stuff really amplified into a rapid deterioration of my body, the realistic side, the business side of me had in me, there's no way I'm going to be alive. And I should have kind of maybe lost it at a couple of the instances. So to be given a miracle, I mean, genuinely a miracle. If you did a Disney movie on this, me and my awesome daughter are here, we love the Disney Channel this time of the year, you would say it's unrealistic, it's unbelievable, it's too Disney-ish, it's too AMC. But I'm living it right now, and I'm going to continue, spreading that message. And when we won the national championship in 1983 with Howard Snellenberger, he used to say, how you do little things is how you do all things, and to believe is to be strong. And when you really believe, you could create positive spirituality, and you could almost manifest really positive things happening. So I'm going to continue living in that dream state of positive manifestation, because it's absolutely, I feel like I'm a walking miracle for that. And I want to be able now, yes, I want to be able to help with it, but I also believe it's almost a responsibility. This isn't like a gift you could be given, and now you get to choose when you get to want to give it or pick it. There's so many people hurting. And when I go into the transplant list, and when I was feeling bad 10, 11 weeks ago, feeling sorry for myself, thinking I'm the worst person in the world, the sickest one, and then I see all of her patients, and I'm still the top 10 looking guys doing good. There's so many more people in even worse situations than the dire situation I was in. So somehow, some way, the Jimmy Johnson line that I thought was just for football, Coach Johnson's still stuck in my head. Somehow, some way, we're going to keep going and moving forward and spreading that positive message to bring genuine positive help to people, families, and the communities we touch every day.
On that note, Doctor, when there are high-profile transplants, it does, I would imagine, increase interest in organ donation. What do you see something like this meaning for other potential transplant patients that are waiting? Do you see an influx of donors?
Yeah, it'll be a little bit difficult to assess necessarily like the influx, but I definitely hope. I think any, successful transplant where you have somebody out there and living what a transformative what it means for the recipient. I only can hope, we all hope, that more people are going to recognize the need to be an organ donor, and that it really is, you're saving lives, saving many patients' lives, each organ donor. And it can't say that enough. So I think anything that can spread that word is huge.
Yeah, and absolutely. I was that guy. I kind of heard Bryce was maybe that guy. When you go to get your license renewal and you get those line of questions, that tends to just be a standard question. In my past, sometimes I thought about it and you say yes or no, but now, oh God, easy to say yes. And you get to see the ramifications and the possibilities that you could do for people. And Dr. Zoe used the word transformative. It's a transformative difference you could make in people's lives.
So we have time for one more question, and then we're going to...
Bernie, you've been really transparent this entire time, kind of keeping everyone and kind of in the loop of what's been going on with you and your battle here. I mean, even just doing this today, a week after surgery, letting people know, why is that something that's so important to you?
So I think part of it was, one, so many people are out there caring, praying, wanting to know what's going on. So it's almost impossible. Sorry, everybody. It's impossible to individually text and call and spend the time that everybody wants to spend with it. So part of it is informational, just so my friends, family, people, the fans could kind of hear, you know, what's going on with it. And that was kind of part of it to start with. But then as it started gravitating and taking shape, and some of the stuff we're saying today, there's so many people now that are masking perfection. And we're all trying to claim that we're great. And the holidays are coming, and we want to have a utopian Disney experience holidays. And reality is probably none of us all have exactly that within our families and our personal lives. And there always are bumps and kinks in the road. And being able to show that whatever level we're at, we all have these bumps, kinks in the road that we got to address, and it's okay to not be perfect and to be able to show your vulnerable self. Now, then that's something maybe I did a little too much of, but really it was, I think, somewhat therapeutic for myself and very therapeutic, I think, for the people following, because it's almost now like there's people that are following this and they're living day to day as to how to get by with this. So it's almost a responsibility now to kind of keep people informed. And like I said, as I look at my number 19 here in front of us, you know, the simple little things like a $19 wish to be part of our club like that. Ray Lewis with 57, you know, like that. Those are kind of cool, significant things that you're able to really parlay into making people, you know, be part of the process with it, and it's quite humbling.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. You matter. Thanks. Thank you.
All right, wrapping this up, some inspirational things that, said right there as you see Bernie Kosar finishing things up there with UH Hospital in Cleveland. We're going to get more on that, but we do want to go to this live presentation by FDNY UFA president who is talking with other firefighters and the attorney for the FDNY firefighters about a report from a DEP, apparently some type of organization that kind of centers around Ground Zero and some toxin records that were found that have been publicly denied in terms of their existence. We're going to go to this to get more from them now.
The UFA General Counsel. As we've heard, the city has finally released 68 boxes of records related to the toxins in the air on Ground Zero. Records that have been suppressed for years and years, and as New York City claimed, they could not even be found. New York City firefighters demand to know who in New York City government hid those documents all the way back in the beginning and continued to keep those documents held all these years. On 9/11, I went to my first fire. While I was on one end of the building in the collapse, my father was at the other side of the Trade Center with Rudy Giuliani. They hunkered down at 75 Barclay Street, and my father, who was involved in the police department during the bombing of the World Trade Center bombing in '93, announced that to Giuliani that I know there's asbestos in the building. You can actually see it in the air. You can see it it's sparkling in the sunlight outside. And at that point in time, building engineers went and got those paper masks and actually handed one to Giuliani, my father, and everyone else in the room. Rudy Giuliani knew before the second tower even came down that there were toxins in the air. And somehow, over the next few hours and days, that message was suppressed. They had real testing done. And when that testing was done, it was suppressed and everyone was told the air was safe. People would have made different choices. You know, we all know at this point how many people are sick. There's 140,000 people in the World Trade Center healthcare program. We really need to know who lied then and who kept this lie, you know, alive by hiding all the information that we've been asking for. This FOIL was asking for all the testing documents and memos related to the 9/11 toxins, along with City Hall's memos from the fall of 2001, including a memo sent to Deputy Mayor Harding that estimated there would be 10,000 claims against the city at a minimum because of the exposure, and they knew it. And they chose to lie, and they chose to hide these documents. We need to know who lied. By now, we all know what toxins were in the air, unless, of course, these documents show there are things that we didn't know. But we need to know who lied initially. I think it's important for people to know that there were people back then that chose to protect the city's interests and not protect the interests of New York City firefighters, other responders and the civilians that were down there. That wasn't the only betrayal. Years later, we had to go down to Washington to fight for the World Trade Center healthcare program. Had these documents been available then, it could have helped prove our case to get that life-saving healthcare more available quickly. It would have been less of a fight. It would have also helped the doctors to help diagnose people. Had they had all the documents at the time, we could be looking, right as we speak, we could be looking at more illnesses that have latency periods of 25, 30 years based on chemical exposures. These are all things that we could have been looking at and studying for the last 20 years, and the city chose to keep them hidden. So now we have 68 boxes that have surfaced. Only 24 of them have been reviewed. We need to have all of these boxes open and made available. As I've been told, only 24 of the 68 have been made available. We also need to know who in city management has decided to keep these boxes hidden for all of these years. Constantly we've asked for these documents. At the end of the de Blasio administration, we asked for these documents and they never surfaced. So the 140,000 people in the World Trade Center healthcare program deserve to know. Their families deserve to know. The families of those that have died deserve to know. My father passed away 2.5 years ago from World Trade Center related illnesses. My family needs to know that the people that lied to everyone else, again, my father was exposed from day one, but everyone else that was exposed, they need to know. Their families need to know who lied to them. They need to be held accountable. But the firefighters in the firehouses in New York City and the other first responders in New York City need to know that, God forbid, something else happen. And the city knows that they've got to decide between their liability and what's best for the long-term health and lives of New York City firefighters and other first responders, that they'll make the right choice. The city needs to be upfront and accountable for what has been done in the past, but also what could happen in the future. New York City firefighters deserve to know that the city will be transparent and accountable. God forbid anything else happen in the future. So I would like to thank City Councilperson Gail Brewer for getting us to this point, and I'd also like to thank 9/11 Health Watch for working with us to get these documents brought today, but the fight is not over, and I'd like to bring up TJ McManus to discuss from here.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you to the members of the media for coming today. My name is Thomas McManus from the law firm Sullivan, Papain, Block, McManus, Kafinas, and Canavo. We are general counsel to the Uniformed Firefighters Association, and we represent thousands of 9/11 victims in their VCF claims. Today's a bittersweet day. It's bittersweet because we finally have the first semblance of transparency from the city. We finally will begin to know what they knew and when they knew it. But it's bittersweet because it took 24 years to get here. It's bittersweet because it took litigation, FOIL requests, and it took the Department of Investigation, through the efforts of Gail Brewer, to compel the city to find these documents. It's ironic that after all that time, they didn't find 68 pages hidden somewhere in the bellows of the DEP. They found 68 boxes. Did they lose a room where all these records were stored? It's shocking, and it's disheartening, and quite frankly, it's appalling. How could this happen? And who was behind it? Was it intentional misconduct or just incompetence? What did they know and when did they know it? That is what we're looking to find out here. And the way we're going to find out, quite frankly, is through these boxes. The truth is, this is just the first step in understanding everything that Andy was just talking about. These boxes are going to be culled through by the 9/11 Health Watch. And when they do so, we're going to learn more and probably have more strands to follow to get to the bottom of what happened here and why this information wasn't disclosed. It could lead to more questions, but it's setting us on the path to truth. Now, beyond just the terrible lack of transparency, I ask, at what cost was that lack of transparency? The World Trade Center Health Program has been around since about 2011. What could those doctors have done with information that's potentially in those boxes? If those boxes contain information about toxins that were in the air, shouldn't that have been studied for the last 24 years? Shouldn't that have been studied by the researchers back in the years following 9/11, or by the Health Watch since 2011? We add new cancers to the registry every so often, every couple of years. Would those cancers have been added earlier? Would the studies be further along? These are life-saving, life-altering medical information that we should have had all along. As Andy put it, firefighters need to know. They need to know that if they go into a terrorist attack, if they go into an explosion, if they go into a situation where their life is in danger, they need to know that when they come out, if they come out, that they or their families will get truth, will be told what they were exposed to, so they can make the smart decisions in dealing with their health, and they can adjust their lives accordingly. Transparency is not optional. The firefighters and first responders answered the call on 9/11. They did so despite the risk. Their sacrifices, their courage, and their service is a debt we all owe. We as New Yorkers, and we as Americans. It's a debt that we will forever owe. The least we can do is give those first responders and their families truth. We all said we would never forget. It's time to learn the truth. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any questions?
If the city doesn't comply and release the remainder of these documents, what's the union's next plan of action?
We'll continue to demand that the FOIL be answered. I believe at some point they're going to have to open the rest of the boxes. If we have to go into the next administration, we're letting them know that we expect this to be a top priority, to come clean to what happened in New York City 24 years ago. 24 years ago they made a choice to hide the evidence of what happened in 9/11. They should have used that evidence and those tests to prepare for the long-term health care of the people that were down there. Their decision they made was to just hide it. They could have been preparing and doing studies on what to expect. Instead, the studies came from the outside, and we had to wheel sick and dying New York City firefighters and police officers down to Washington to show them this is what happened. Had these documents been more readily available and studied ahead of time, we wouldn't have had to go through that. So what we're looking to do is hold this administration accountable to open the rest of those boxes. If not, we'll carry on to the next administration. But those boxes will be open, the evidence will be found, and we're going to find out exactly who lied to us back then. Who knew? Because they made a very poor decision, a criminal decision, to hide it instead of studying it, to hide the truth instead of learning from it and preparing for it. We all knew that there were things down there. We should have been working on anticipating the health problems. Instead, we waited for the victims to show up, and the government denied they were even there until the evidence was overwhelming.
Have you had conversations with the Mondami transition team about what you expect and what you would like to happen here?
Yes and no. I was at the transition team meeting today, and it was a large crowd there. I haven't had face-to-face meetings yet about these issues, but we do plan on it.
Question about, has anyone in here seen the 24 boxes so far?
We haven't seen them yet, no.
Who has, was Gail Brewer and
Gail Brewer and 9/11 Health Watch, which we worked with, saw the boxes one day last week.
And got to look at inside some of them, right?
24 out of 68 of them they were allowed to look inside of. The other ones, they were off limits at the time.
So is there some sense of, just to give us an idea of what's there, is it, October 3rd, 2001, air contains blank? Is it data like that? Or
we believe it's a lot of studies. They've said it's a lot of studies, and again, some studies have been released outside of what's in those boxes. But what we're trying to make the message of today is, we hope and understand that may not be in there, but we hope and understand that may not be in there is the chain of custody and the accountability of who put those boxes away. Here we are 24 years later, we know many people got sick. We're still trying to get more diseases added to the World Trade Center Registry. We're hoping that there's going to be documents in there that help make our cases on new diseases, but until we see it all, we don't know.
Right.
And we need to know if it's not in the boxes of who knew what and where, then that information has to be researched by the city, and we're going to keep looking for it. Of who hid these boxes? You know, if there was an email stating, again, I mentioned the Harding memo. They talked about liability. I don't think the memo is in there that says, by the way, hide everything. You know, someone made that decision 24 years ago, and someone maintained that decision to keep it hidden. Do I think it's in the boxes? I don't know. Until we get through them, and 9/11 Health Watch will be going through the boxes diligently, we don't know what's in there until we find out. But if that's not in the boxes, if who knew what, where, and when is not in the boxes, that's something we'd have to ask the city to go through their records and put some accountability to this. Because those boxes didn't end up in cold storage by themselves.
Is there a set time that you want to see these documents by, the rest of the documents by?
We've been waiting 24 years, and every date delayed is justice delayed. So, but we understand it's going to take a little more time to get to those boxes, but honestly, they found them. They should be open. So we're working with 9/11 Health Watch to see when they have their next viewing, and hopefully it'll be soon.
You mentioned Gail Brewer and this City Council resolution as well as the DOI investigation. Are you expecting more than just this initial tranche of documents to turn up? Are you seeing that will turn up more boxes or more stuff elsewhere?
And we haven't been told if there's any more or any less. But again, we've been told for 24 years there's nothing, and then all of a sudden there's 68 boxes. So what they're continuing to hide, we don't know. But again, as I said, if the chain of custody of who hid these documents isn't in the boxes, we're going to look for that when it's all over.
But isn't one possibility it's just government incompetence? I think TJ alluded to that, whether it's someone who lied and said we got to cover this up, or someone just lost track of super important 9/11 data. In your mind, which one's worse?
Well, I think TJ is taking the legal tact of being kind and not making accusations, but I can't imagine 68 boxes of 9/11 related documents just getting shuffled away like, hey, who's going to need that? Let's put it in the back. I just can't imagine it. These are very pertinent records, and of all the years that we've been going after 9/11 healthcare funding and everything, no one ever thought like, hey, this may be useful. I just don't see it. I know it's been hidden, and it wasn't until the investigation was forced and the release was forced that they finally came to light.
Finally, can you talk a little bit about the personal impact of having these documents, what they would have done to the many people who were down there during that time and who continue to live down there?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I think there was a great opportunity lost. These documents early on should have been used to help scientists anticipate, and scientists and doctors anticipate what illnesses members would come down with. It shouldn't have happened this way. Those documents should have been really readily available for everyone to study and anticipate what we would get sick from. People may have made different choices on their health care early on had they know what illnesses they were dealing with, because you get symptoms, and until you have a diagnosis, you don't know what's going on. Some people have been ignoring symptoms. I think if people would have had a better idea early on, they would have ignored symptoms. It causes you to get treatment later. So I think the opportunities mostly have been lost, the fact they've been hidden so long. And that's why we're really focusing on accountability today, to continue to open the documents that are there and fully go after the people that hid it, because they're the ones that caused, they didn't cause the damage, but they definitely prevented a cure from coming sooner.
What's holding up seeing the other boxes? You've seen 24. What's the difference between them?
I believe where they just haven't been released. I believe the word they're using is they haven't been released. So they may be saying that we couldn't get them in the van. I don't know. They haven't been released yet.
Is there an appearance before a judge? Is there a judge involved?
Well, it's the Department of Investigation. So if they continue to withhold these documents, we will again go to DOI and demand their release. But we believe at some point they should be open, but we just don't know what's going to be there.
Thanks, guys.
Anything else?
Thank you.
We're going to go to a 2-minute break. We'll be back right after this with more continuing coverage right here on WCNC Plus. Thanks for coming back with us here on WCNC Plus. We're going to go to the White House right now. The press secretary is speaking to the media. Caroline Levitt.
Investigation into Mark Kelly, and what do you make of his response that it's just intimidation?
The White House is supportive of the Department of War's investigation into Senator Mark Kelly, and I think what Senator Mark Kelly was actually trying to do was intimidate the 1.3 million active duty service members who are currently serving in our United States Armed Forces with that video that he and his Democrat colleagues put out. Senator Mark Kelly well knows the rules of the military and the respect that one must have for the chain of command, and that all lawful orders are presumed to be legal by our service members. You can't have a functioning military if there is disorder and chaos within the ranks, and that's what these Democrat members were encouraging. It's very clear, and not a single one of them, since they've been pressed by the media, and I'll give you guys credit for that, can point to a single illegal order that this administration has given down, because it does not exist. They knew what they were doing in this video, and Senator Mark Kelly and all of them should be held accountable for that. No, because Lindsey Callaghan was legally appointed, and that's the administration's position. I know there was a judge who is clearly trying to shield Letitia James and James Comey from receiving accountability, and that's why they took this unprecedented action to throw away the indictments against these two individuals. But the Department of Justice will be appealing very soon, and it is our position that Lindsey Callaghan is extremely qualified for this position, but more importantly, was legally appointed to it. Steve.
To those indictments or not?
Is President Zelensky come to the United States this week? Are there a couple of points you mentioned on the boxing, a couple of points apart on?
Yeah. So there are no plans at this moment in time. As you know, things can change very quickly around here, so we'll keep you all apprised, but there's no meeting scheduled right now. As for where we are, I spoke with Secretary Rubio at length. I spoke with the president as well. Everybody inside feels optimistic about what happened and transpired yesterday in Geneva. Secretary Rubio, Special Envoy Witkoff, the whole team really worked through the points of that 28-point peace plan that the United States authored with input from both sides, the Russians and the Ukrainians, and ultimately the vast majority of these points have been agreed upon. The Ukrainians have worked on language with us together, and you heard that from their delegation directly yesterday. So we feel as though we're in a very good place. Of course, we have to make sure that all of these points are agreed to, and then of course we're going to have to make sure the other party in this war, the Russians, agree to them as well. But I think the president deserves a great deal of credit for the amount of energy and effort he's put into trying to bring these two sides to an end of this war. He wants to see this killing stop. As for any deadlines, he wants to see this end as soon as possible.
Is the president more determined to go after Tish James and James Comey?
Go ahead.
Is the president more determined to go after Tish James and James Comey?
Excuse me. I'm answering a question from you.
You looked at me. I'm sorry.
I turned and looked at you because you're yelling. I will take a question from your colleague, and then I'll take your question too. Okay? Go ahead.
What are exactly the points of this agreement that they are still working on?
I don't want to detail sort of the technical talks that are happening right now, but there are just a couple, and we're confident that we'll be able to work through those.
The president put pressure on Putin or Zelensky if it doesn't work.
The president's been putting a lot of pressure on both leaders for this entire time. We've been talking with both sides. He's been talking to both leaders directly for 10 months now. So yes, you can expect that pressure to continue. The president wants this war to end.
Caroline, is the president more determined now, since the judge's ruling today, to go after James Comey and Tish James, and if so, why?
I wouldn't say he's going after them. I think the president is more determined than ever to see accountability in this country, yes, and to correct the wrongs of the weaponization of our justice system that we saw under the previous administration and Joe Biden.
Are we entering a new phase of Venezuela, and what does that entail?
Well, as the president is so good at, I'll try to be just as good. I'm not going to broadcast any actions that may or may not be happening with respect to Venezuela. I know I've been very clear about the administration's position, as has the president and his national security team. We view the Maduro regime as being illegitimate, and the president has been very satisfied with the successful strikes against narco-terrorists and foreign terrorists that are illegally trafficking drugs towards the United States of America. He's not going to tolerate that, and you can expect to see those strikes continue.
Is there any meeting or
on Venezuela planned for this week? What was President Trump's reaction to those indictments against Comey and James being thrown out?
His reaction was, we've seen this before. We've seen partisan judges take unprecedented steps to try to intervene in accountability before, but we're not going to give up. And I know that the Department of Justice intends to appeal these rulings very soon, if they haven't already. I may have missed it.
Well, Caroline, one question on Venezuela. Is there any planned meeting for this week on Venezuela? And another one, a clarification on this weekend, because the president was asked about the former Brazilian president being arrested, and he mentioned that he spoke with this gentleman. Did he speak with Bolsonaro the day before he was arrested?
Not to my knowledge. I don't know if that call took place or not. It may have. I can get you a firm answer on that, Raquel. I know it's of great importance to you for your reporting. As for meetings on Venezuela, there's meetings on a range of topics inside this building all of the time, and the president is constantly apprised of what's going on in the world, what's going on in the news, and he's very well written into all of the things that his team are working on.
Caroline, please. You would not go into the sticking points of the disagreement between the two parties in the Ukraine peace process, but how flexible is the president in coming to a deal, and will the Europeans be part of a final negotiation with Zelensky?
I think he's been quite flexible already. We've been watching this war go on for 10 months. He's talked to both leaders countless times. Our team has engaged with both the Russians and the Ukrainians extensively. As I said, there is a sense of urgency. The president wants to see this deal come together, and he wants to see this war end.
I wanted to ask you, is it MAGA to support American workers being replaced with H-1B visa holders? Are Americans not capable of filling most of these positions?
Who supports getting American workers getting replaced?
I know the president mentioned that he wanted to bring in some workers that he could eventually send back in regards to...
The president does not support American workers being replaced. You are mischaracterizing what the president said. The president wants to see our American manufacturing industry be revitalized better than ever before. That's part of what he's doing with his effective use of tariffs and cutting good trade deals around the world. That's why he's recruited trillions and trillions of dollars in investments into our country. Those are creating good paying American jobs right here at home. As for the H-1B visa issue, the president has a very nuanced and common sense opinion on this issue. He wants to see if foreign companies are investing trillions of dollars in the United States of America, and they're bringing foreign workers with them to create very niche things like batteries. He wants to see that at the beginning to get those manufacturing facilities and those factories up and running, but ultimately the president always wants to see American workers in those jobs, and he's told these foreign companies that are investing here, you better be hiring my people if you're going to be doing business in the United States. So there's been a lot of misunderstanding of the president's position. Michael.
Caroline, is President Trump asking for Xi Jinping's help in putting pressure on Putin to help end the war?
I won't get into the details of the conversation this morning other than what the president put out on Truth Social. He put out his own readout of that, and I will leave it to that. But I did speak with him about the call. It lasted about an hour, and it was a very positive call. The focus of the call was really Russia, Ukraine did come up, but the focus was mainly on the trade deal that we are working on with China and those relations and how they are moving in a positive direction. The president also addressed our farmers, and we are pleased with what we've seen from the Chinese, and they feel the same way. And the president and President Xi discussed continuing to stay in correspondence following their very productive meeting in South Korea.
On Ukraine, does the progress that you just laid out change the Thanksgiving Day deadline for Ukraine to come to an agreement, or does the president still want something more definitive by Thursday? And then on the Comey and James case, does the president still have confidence in Lindsey Elliott?
Absolutely, he does, to your second question. As for your first question, with respect to the deadline, the president wants to see this deal come together as quickly as possible, and he trusts that his team is doing everything they can to get it over the finish line.
Does the president support Israel's elimination of Hezbollah chief of staff Ali Tafta yesterday, and is he in favor of Israel blocking Hezbollah from growing again?
I haven't spoken to the president about that strike specifically, but of course the president supports Israel's right to defend itself and to take out any terrorist threats in the region. Jake?
If the president does announce a proposal to cut healthcare costs, will that include the extension of the
I know there's been a lot of reporting on this from yourself as well, Jake, over the last few days. I will tell you that healthcare is a topic of discussion that's happening very frequently and robustly inside the West Wing right now. The president's very much involved in these talks, and he's very focused on unveiling a healthcare proposal that will fix the system and will bring down costs for consumers. As for the details of those discussions, I'll let the president speak for himself. As you all know, sometimes you report things and then President Trump comes out with an announcement, and those things are not always true from what you hear from sources inside the building. So I'll let the president speak for himself. Sure, go ahead, Kara.
Well, President Trump said he still thinks he's a fascist and a despot after they had such a great meeting. Any comment from the White House on that?
I think talk is cheap, and I think that the president is going to judge Mamdani by his actions that he takes to New York. The meeting was positive, as you heard from the president last week, and I think the fact that the president is willing to meet with somebody who said those types of things about him shows that he really is interested in being a president for all Americans, regardless of where they live or who their leader is. He wants what's best for New York. He loves New York City. He helped build the skyline. He spent his whole life there, and so he really wants to see New York do well. And so that's how that meeting played last week.
Caroline.
John.
Thanks a lot, Caroline. There are a few Republican senators who are critical of the 28-point police plan, including Senator Rounds, Senator Graham, Senator McConnell. What do you say to those senators who say that this is giving too much away to Russia? And has Russia made any concessions as it relates to a possible peace deal concerning ending the war in Ukraine?
I would point any critics to the words of the Ukrainians yesterday, in which they said that they feel very positive about this plan. They've been very involved. They have had direct input on the language of this plan, and that we are in direct communication and correspondence with them. Any idea, let me just finish with this, the idea that the United States of America is not engaging with both sides equally in this war to bring it to an end is a complete and total fallacy. And I saw a lot of misinformation and rumors and allegations against people in this building, such as Secretary Rubio and Special Envoy Wynkoff and the President himself, that they are favoring one side over the other. That could not be further from the truth. I have watched as the President and his team have worked around the clock overnight with both sides on endless phone calls, endless meetings to try to bring this war to a close. And any suggestion otherwise is a complete misunderstanding of the facts. It's coming from people who have no idea what they're talking about, or people who are pushing their own agenda, or maybe people who don't want to see this war come to an end. I don't know. Maybe they're profiting off of it. Maybe they benefit from it in some way, but nobody in this building benefits from war. We want to see this war come to an end, and that's what the president and his team are proudly working to do. And I think the critics should just take a step back and think about what happened with Israel and Gaza. There were a lot of doubters, and we got the hostages out, and this president secured a peace deal that still exists and is ongoing today. So everyone should just respect the work this administration is doing and watch the process unfold. Thank you.
We cancel our Thanksgiving plan, Caroline, over Ukraine.
All right, we're going to take a 2-minute break. We'll be back after this. Welcome back, everyone. We're going to check our forecast. It is Monday, obviously, and still unseasonably warm, but it sounds like the temperatures are going to dip as we get closer to Thanksgiving. Let's go to our Weather Impact team now.
Good Monday afternoon. A gorgeous start to the work week. This afternoon, it is going to be cooler than it has been in previous days, but it's still going to be about 5 to 10 degrees above the average high for this time of year. We are watching for that rain coverage to increase for Tuesday. A weather impact alert will continue the scattered showers, isolated thunderstorms all the way through early Wednesday morning. After that, watching a big cool down starting for your Thanksgiving Thursday. Any pre-Thanksgiving plans? Maybe you're headed out to the grocery store. We'll have really nice conditions. You'll notice those clouds will start to increase, especially the high clouds that will make way for some filtered sunshine, but high temperatures, middle to upper 60s. The average high for this time of year is 60 degrees. So like I mentioned, it is still going to be above average. Now we are watching for Tuesday. We have issued a weather impact alert. We are not anticipating any severe storms, but if you're traveling out of the roadways Tuesday, the showers and the rain certainly could disrupt that traffic, could cause some disruptions on the roadways. So just keep that in mind if you are headed out early. We'll see those temperatures stay pretty much in the 60s throughout the day. Just going to be cloudy. Rain chances will really start to ramp up going into those afternoon hours. The bulk of the rain arriving Tuesday night into early Wednesday. That rainmaker off to the west over towards Texas, Arkansas. This is all being pushed alongside of this low pressure system and associated cold front. This will bring strong to severe storms across the southeast, but it's going to weaken out as it pushes across the Carolinas. So a rumble of thunder may be possible with this system, but like I mentioned, we are not anticipating any severe weather. Timing this out for you from start to finish on your Tuesday morning. This is 7 o'clock. If you're headed out early, you are good to go. We've got clouds that increase and a few spotty showers, a few sprinkles out there. This really starts to increase in coverage and intensity around lunchtime, especially along and north of I-40. Mountain and foothills getting hammered with rain. This pushes into the greater Charlotte area, especially between about 2 to 4 o'clock, and then we'll continue for our most eastern counties. Note that there will be some breaks in between the rain. It's not going to be an all-day washout, so if you are headed out any evening plans, just keep an eye on that radar. And of course, if you haven't already, download that WCNC app so you can track those showers and thunderstorms in real time. Bulk of the rain, like I mentioned, the heaviest is going to come overnight Tuesday and early Wednesday, likely after midnight. A few lingering showers may be possible for early Wednesday, but as that cold front actually makes a push across the greater Charlotte area, not only will cooler air start to filter in, but drier air as well. Totaling it all up, anywhere from about a tenth to a quarter, especially south of Charlotte, and north of Charlotte up to 3/4 of beneficial rain across the area. If you are traveling across the Carolinas Tuesday, the western half will see the wettest conditions, but by the time we get into Wednesday, our most eastern communities, especially over towards Charleston and Raleigh, will get in on that rain. But it does clear out by the time we get into Thanksgiving, potentially another round coming as we go into early next week. But your Thanksgiving forecast, well, it looks like this. Wednesday starts off with rain, turning mild and breezy for the afternoon. By Thursday, the colder air arrives, but by Friday, this is when we see the coldest air, likely a freezing start. Both Friday and Saturday morning, you'll note that those high temperatures go from the upper 60s to lower 70s through Wednesday to the 50s, even 50 degrees for a high temperature both Friday and Saturday. So enjoy today. We've got rain moving in by Tuesday.
All right, everyone, that is the outlook for the rest of our week from our Weather Impact team. Right now, there is a huge game, of course, that the Carolina Panthers are preparing for Monday Night Football out on the Western Coast. We're going to get to Danielle Stein as they prepare for a primetime game.
A rare Sunday where the Panthers did not have a 1 o'clock kickoff, and that is because they are getting ready for the big lights in the big game. It is a primetime game, Monday Night Football, just ahead against the San Francisco 49ers. It's going to be the Panthers' first primetime game since Week 10 of the 2023 season, which was, of course, Bryce Young's rookie year. I'm now joined by Locked On's Julian Council to break down the upcoming matchup and kind of just see where the team's at heading into this game. And Julian, just starting off with the stage of primetime. What can that do for a team as they're getting ready to prepare for the entire country, so to speak, getting ready to watch them?
Yeah, Danielle, I like that you brought up this is the first primetime game since that Thursday night game against Chicago. Go back to that Thursday. There wasn't really a lot on the line that day. And even week 2 earlier that season, the other primetime game Panthers recently had, wasn't a lot on the line in that game other than it was a divisional opponent. Today, on Monday, that is going to actually be a primetime game that has a lot on the line as Carolina can still win the division in the NFC South, potentially earn a wild card spot. And for them to be in this position, there are 11 games heading this week 12 matchup on Monday night against San Francisco. Like, that's huge for them to be in the spotlight. And after Bryce had the performance he had last Sunday against Atlanta, to try to follow that up with a big win against the San Francisco 49ers team that over the last couple of years has been one of the best teams in the NFC. So it's a moment for Carolina to follow up last week and also follow up that win a couple weeks ago against Green Bay and once again tell the rest of the NFL that they are a serious contender this year in 2025.
Yeah, talked about Bryce there and that monster performance. He had 448 passing yards in that game, a record for him, a record, of course, for the franchise. And following that up is not an easy task, but of course, we do know that he has some good weapons that he's going to be working alongside, and there are some holes on the San Francisco 49ers defense. Guys like Bosa, guys like Warner, some of their more notable defenders who are not going to be in this game might bring some opportunities, would you say, for the Panthers offense to kind of take advantage?
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you're facing off against a team that's banged up, especially defensively like San Francisco has been this season and really the last couple of years, they've always had a bunch of injuries, but especially injuries to some key players like Fred Warner, not going to be out there at linebacker, not having Nick Bosa, who could be coming off the edge and wreaking havoc. Not having to worry about those two guys is absolutely going to be in Carolina's advantage, but also just be able to build off what they did last Sunday and what Dave Canales was able to put out there and allow Bryce Young to do in that offense, and to see Bryce find T-Mac, to find Xavier Legette, Jalen Coker, and the rest of his offensive weapons. I'm very interested to see if Bryce can continue to build off of that performance, as they're going to need not 448 yards again, I don't think, to win this game on Monday night, but they're going to need those kind of performances at that level as far as just consistency in the passing game if they're going to go on to beat the 49ers, beat the Rams, beat Seattle, and also beat Tampa and the rest of these teams left on their schedule as they try to get to the playoffs this year.
It's not like the Panthers themselves are immune to injury, especially as we're talking about that linebacker position. We do know two pretty key playmakers for the Panthers, Christian Rozeboom, Trevin Wallace, both guys who have had the green dot this season. Both will be out for Monday night. So what does that look like for the rest of the group who's going to need to be kind of stepping up in their place?
Yeah, next man up. That's what it's going to be. Claude Sherlis got to start last week in place of Trevin Wallace. He'll be starting once again, and I would expect that he'd be wearing the green dot, which he did once Christian Rozeboom went out with that hamstring injury at the end of that game last Sunday in Atlanta. And after that, we'll see. There's guys like Chris Barnes who could be called up from the practice squad. That's something that Dave Canales said would be the case on Saturday when he spoke to the media. So we'll see whether he gets a start. There's Bam Martin-Scott, who's been primarily a special teams player at that linebacker spot, the rookie out of South Carolina. He could potentially start. Then Jacoby Windman, they signed him from the practice squad last week, and he potentially could be elevated. He had to make 2 starts late last season as well. And then there's Miami Young Meta, who had to play 5 snaps in that game last Sunday. So a veritable who's who of who going out there and potentially playing linebacker for Carolina on Monday night. But at this point in time, you just got to be that next man up mentality. You have a guy in Claude Sherlis who's been here over the last 2 seasons, so it's not like he does not have a firm understanding of this defense, and they're going to have to find a way to scheme around what's going to be probably a tough matchup with these linebackers, matchup against Christian McCaffrey.